more African nations join the Year of Water?
I would say every descendant of Africa should go home.
But the same things are happening. The tax money is still coming back to Europe.
How do we contribute to the decolonization of Africa?
So if Africa is our focus, are we then neglecting the Caribbean?
The year returned so successful, 1.9 billion. 1.9 billion. And all of a sudden, the whole world shut down.
Making sure that people on the continent see the real picture of how we live here.
Welcome from Ghana, Accra.
Enter Decipher.
Quarantine Convos. Enjoy weekly discussions with people from around the world, assisting us in dealing with this normal, mentally, spiritually, and physically. We feature nutritionists, psychologists, therapists, personal trainers, home educators, legal experts, and more, bringing you all the information and inspiration you need. Check out Quarantine Convos every Thursday from 7 p.m, live on Got Kush TV.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. We're on time this evening, family. And I know the trailers say weekly, but we need to be thinking about bi-weekly. There's a lot on, okay? So we might change the trailer at some point soon, but just bear with us, all right? So there is a lot of news today, and we have a beautiful, wonderful guest this evening. I have known this person for many years. 15 years plus, yeah. So, and he's one of my favorite human beings. So I am really honored to have him on this evening, yeah. And he is communicating tonight via Uganda tonight, actually. So, so it really is important that we have this conversation. Greetings, Faculty X Training. Give thanks. So I'd like to get started on the news. Let's breathe, everyone. Let's just breathe. Okay, so I want to start. I think I should start with this. Yeah. I'm going to get to the juicy parts because I know everybody's there's a little bit of excitement with everything that's happening at the moment. But you know when they talk about the mouth of babes. Well, it says schools must not tell pupils to pin colours to a political mast, says Sawahi. Education Secretary Nadeem Zawahi has condemned a lesson that took place in a Nottinghamshire primary school where year 6 pupils year 6 pupils were asked to write a letter criticising Prime Minister Boris Johnson. The letter, written by year 6 pupils at Welbeck Primary School in the Meadows, Nottingham, branded the Prime Minister a hypocrite and called for his resignation. In images of the letter shared on social media, one pupil wrote, "This week in year 6, we have been looking at our aspirations and role models for the future. We have looked at famous leaders such as Nelson Mandela and Barack Obama, and we have also looked at teachers, head teachers. We also looked at people who we respect And disappointingly, our own Prime Minister has not made it onto the list, the letter says. Yeah, it goes as far to refer to News Round, because News Round will report certain things, and now they're, having to go at News Round for reporting it, and young people are actually taking a look at it. Now, we talked about Partygate and all these kinds of variables. Well, we're also aware that with Partygate comes, some repercussions with that. And so, so they're not keen on that. But what was another thing that's interested me, yeah, and I don't know, I'm not, I should be excited somehow or something, but I'm not, yeah, I'm just like, I'm watching, I'm waiting and observing. So, yesterday with, Partygate in the back pending, Enders here, Boris Johnson will unveil plans to scrap all these COVID laws, including self-isolation in just days. So they have had a conversation about the 21st of February. And what's really interesting is it's highlighted sort of in the papers. And it's highlighted, but it's not highlighted. The radio stations I was listening to today, I thought was really interesting. They're really kind of upset. They don't want the change. People have become sheeple. Yeah, they're upset that it's happening too soon. He's not thinking of others. So I'm really kind of interested in how this plays out and what this really looks like, because it sounds good on the surface. Yeah, but yeah, that's exactly where I stand with it. Now, the last piece of news that really had impact. And it must have impacted all of us in different ways, but many of us have already had this conversation within ourselves about what's going on with the police service. Met officers joke about certain things as I don't want to say too much at this stage because it's still early, it's before the watershed, yeah. But the Metropolitan Police have denied the force is plagued by a culture of misogyny after an official report revealed shocking details of officers sharing messages about hitting women, abusing women, as well as death of Black babies and the Holocaust. Yeah, it goes on, it goes further. But in this conversation, they've really brought up loads and loads of things. Oh my gosh, how it's maybe homophobic, it's all sorts of things, racist. They've used racism, yeah, but they haven't addressed Black babies. Like, why don't we get them to unpack that? Yeah, why don't they unpack that? What does that actually mean? Yeah, because I saw one piece about Black children, African children. I saw one piece, yeah, and then it sort of disappeared. Yeah, so it does concern me when I see situations that come up and it's very flippant, yeah, flippantly observed, flippantly said, yeah. If it was white babies and it was if completely reversed, there'd be an uproar. Or Jewish babies, it would be an uproar, yeah? But there's nothing. There's a complete silence around it. So I just want us to be aware, unpack this, yeah? Look at this deeper. What is going on here? So, yeah, that really did touch me. Nobody's even speaking about that. It doesn't make any sense that nobody's even communicating around that. Like, it's nowhere to be seen. Nobody wants to even address that. But they're looking at the culture and they're looking at all the other commissioner and everybody else. So, yeah, it did touch me. And you know what? I'm not expecting them to care. Yeah, to be fair. I'm expecting us to care, though, but I'm not expecting them to care. Yeah. So I just want us to have a little concern and care and compassion for those babies that they're addressing and referencing to that we know are ours. Yeah. All right. Breathe. Okay. So good evening. So let me just say some good evenings again. Good evening, faculty training. Good evening to Jason Planter. Thank you. Yes, Stephen is here. I'm hoping he hasn't disappeared off of the background because I will have to try to find him, and you'll have to hold on for me while I get him. But hopefully he will be here very soon. So just play some elevator music in your mind if I disappear for a second or so. Okay, but I do want to I can leave something up with you, actually, maybe possibly, if the technical allow for it. Yeah, I'm getting my head around all the technicals now. Yeah, it's official. So I just want to kind of really get into the introduction now. Yeah, of our guest this evening. An amazing human being, really amazing. We are really blessed to have his presence, and to know that he is one of these people that, he's here with us. He has the most radiant smile. People say, "Oh, what, you've got a lovely smile," and people have this conversation with me. But it's very rare that you meet men with a really, I don't mean to be rude, brothers. Yeah, but a smiling man is such a beautiful thing to see. Yeah, it's such a beautiful thing to see. Yeah, when men feel light. Yeah, I love to see that. Such a wonderful thing. So, without further ado, okay, Stephen Tamale Ssali is the CEO and director of Mariandina Research Foundation, and is the son of the late Professor Charles Ssali, founder of the Mariandina Research Foundation. He is currently responsible for promotional, logistical support and distribution of Mariandina Nutritional Health Products. Stephen worked alongside his father, Professor Ssali, for 8 years, where he was personally taught by his father about research and nutrition. Stephen has been in Qatar in the Middle East with his father to raise health awareness as part of an international conference on diabetes, been on tour in Ghana several times speaking on Ghana media, and has also been in the USA on tour with the Matah Health, promoting Mariandina health supplements. Stephen has worked with and interviewed Queen Afua, Dr. Llaila Africa, Dr. Jill Pookrum, Dr. Mark Wilcot. Stephen also organised a UK tour for Queen Afua and her team. Stephen has been on several media outlets such as BBC, New Style Radio in Birmingham, Genesis Radio, Galaxy Radio, Omega Live TV, Ben TV, SLR Radio, Omega Radio, Roots FM, Station FM, and Conscious FM. Stephen has promoted wellness solutions as a keynote speaker to several audiences in seminars and talks across the world. He is the founder of the Universal African Ancestral Alliance, an alliance that is working to create a platform for empowerment through wellness, spiritual healing, and collective cooperation. Stephen Ssali hosts a weekly health talk radio show on Radio RJR 98.3 FM every Wednesday morning, called The Holistic Wellness Show. Stephen Tamale Ssali is a nutritionist and holistic intuitive health therapist specializing in energy intuitive health, and facilitates holistic health consultations which investigate energy imbalances within the body. Currently based in Uganda, where he is coordinating the unification of Uganda Herbalist Association to use and develop indigenous herbs for healing, and is part of the therapist group to facilitate the introduction of holistic therapies in African wellness forums. Woo! Woo! Wow. Just wow. I wanted to say as much as I could, okay? I did, okay? Yes, greetings. Greetings, one and all. Greetings, one and all. Lovely, thank you for coming in. So, I want to, as you know, I do want to say the proverb for this evening. And I found this, I was thinking, I wanted to kind of look into some other proverbs. And this one popped up for me, especially around health, health and everything else that's happening around here. Health has always got questions, it's unended, right? And so it's an Akan proverb, yeah. And it says, the one who asks questions doesn't lose his way. Yeah. So on that note, I would love to invite our brother this evening. Yes, he's back here. Right. If you come off mute, beloved.
All right.
Good evening, King. Good evening.
Good evening, Queen. How are you? Good to
I'm
see
very
you.
good.
Good to hear you.
It's been such a long time since I've seen you in actual person. I cannot.
Yes,
I
but
cannot
we're
tell
together
you.
in spirit. Our journey is unified.
100%. 100%. 100%.
Yes, we have been on a
Yes.
long walk called the walk to freedom.
Haven't we? Look,
Yes.
I have had the absolute pleasure of meeting your father many years ago, about 20 years ago, when he, first kind of came onto the scene, in terms of doing like those kinds of tours. And he was an amazing human being. He was, full of energy, full of compassion, full of love. Yeah. And it was an absolute pleasure. And so, it is an absolute pleasure when I'm, to have his son here, but someone who really embodies his father's spirit at the same time, always with a smile, always with a smile, always. So, give thanks. So I want us to start a little bit at the beginning. Tell us, there was so much there, it was so rich. So I just want you to tell us this evening, thank you, 12 this evening coming on. And I just wanted, you to start from the beginning, because you didn't have to take on this journey yourself. You didn't have to follow in those footsteps, and you made that transition. So what was it, your father's work obviously was an inspiration, but, let us get a sense of, what was the catalyst for you?
First of all, I'd like to thank God Kush TV for this opportunity to share with you, the family, and for Queen Sister Mut for inviting me to be part of this platform, and really all the listeners here today as well. Thank you for also taking time to share on such an important subject of holistic health and well-being. One thing I always want to give thanks to before I even begin is our beloved Creator, who has made us who we are, who has given us the very gift and essence of life as we know it, and also our forefathers and foremothers, our great ancestors, who have left us a legacy that we are able to actually move in this season and time, knowing that everything that we're doing is aligned with their collective purpose of our upliftment, our liberation, and also the time that we're living in, which is a time of transformation. So I want to first of all give honor to all those, and also to my father and my mother, because they have also set me on this journey. Like you said, what was the inspiration? Why did I come? I mean, I was originally an electronic engineer. That's what I already studied in the beginning. But as I grew to realize that the capacity for us to really look at being in this field for over 25 years alongside with my father obviously studied in 1988. And I look at this as a journey that has grown on me, Sister Mut. It has brought me into the awareness that our people are perishing every single day from conditions, imbalances, disorders, and challenges. And it makes me also realize that many times they say in the good book, many are called, but few are chosen. I'd like to see that I'm one of the people who have a calling in this area, because I love and I'm passionate about helping our people. And I really feel that sometimes we are in a state of emergency. And many times when I looked at this journey, like you said, I could have turned away and done my own thing. But I realized one thing, sometimes it's good to also listen to your soul. Your soul has a purpose, and that is what you have to listen to, your soul purpose. And I feel where I am is my soul purpose. I'm comfortable where I am. I love what I do, and I'm passionate about it, but also feel that our people need more therapists, more healers, to really begin to prepare the ground for holistic wellness, and also raising and championing African holistic health from the very root to the very top of the tree. Because what we're seeing in the tree of life is that the very journey I began on. Yes, my father was a great inspiration. I could not take anything away from me. A giant of giants in the field of wellness. And in 1988, when nobody was talking about supplements or healing or natural remedies, he was literally blowing his trumpet and saying, "This is the way." And many people were saying, "Professor, you must have got it wrong. Stick to the medical field. You're already a professor. You're a fellow of the Royal College of Surgeons. Why are you looking at this area of nutritional healing?" And in the very beginning, as there was a major pandemic called HIV/AIDS that was destroying and decimating thousands of people across Africa. And there was no known treatment for it and no known cure. And he embarked on the journey, and he went to the British Overseas Development Ministry and asked them, can you fund me and help me to actually look at solutions that are based in nutrition for HIV/AIDS? And they said, "Oh, Professor, you've done a lot of work in this area in terms of research," because he was a research scientist in the 60s and 70s, and he had discovered already 3 very important treatments that are being used in every hospital around the world. One for a condition called atrophic rhinitis, another condition called laryngotrachobronchitis, another condition called rhinoscleroma. These were originally having no known treatment, and he actually standardized the way they're being the treatment for these conditions and the way they've been treated in every hospital around the world. They're using his method of treatment. Now, from this background of research is where he wanted to delve into this area of looking for solutions for HIV/AIDS. And if you don't know, somebody with HIV/AIDS can actually appear in a state where they lose a lot of weight, they become very emaciated, they have diarrhea, they have all kinds of conditions called opportunistic infections. Now, he got the answer from the British Overseas Development Ministry. Professor Ssali will be prepared to actually fund your research if you do statistical data research on how many people are dying, how were they dying, or what they died of. And he said, no, I want to do what they call research based on solutions that can actually curative solutions for this condition. But they said, we don't fund that kind of research. So he decided to go to Uganda, where he actually got a bank that was losing 8 staff every month. This was a national bank like you have Barclays or Nationwide or NatWest, and they were losing 8 staff every month from HIV/AIDS. And he managed to convince the bank lender to say, look, if you fund me, I will actually help me to do this research. I will actually be able to create a vortex to help to really look at this condition from a nutritional point of view and see what we can do. And the bank said, on only one condition, Professor Ssali, you will have to take on healing of our staff free of charge as you start your. I said, that's fine, I'll do that. And after 3 months of doing his research work he'd done, he developed something called, which he named Mariandina, and he actually began his journey of healing. And literally, the first form of Mariandina was in a liquid form, and he was able to administer it to some patients. And after 3 months of his work in Uganda, the bank stopped losing staff. Like they were losing 8 staff every month, and the bank actually continued to fund him until he developed the supplements themselves as we know them as in their tablet form. He was able to treat over 18,000 people with an 80% success rate, which was shown on CNN in 1995. And this again was he was invited to Qatar in the Middle East as we went together and looked at. He was talking about healing of diabetes using nutritional supplements and providing what they call preventative measures. Today, we are in a situation where Mariandina has been in use for over 35 years, from 1988 till now, and we are still going strong. We are in Ghana. We are also in the area of Malawi. We are also in Nigeria, and also in the UK, and also in Jamaica, and Martinique, and many other countries. And also in America, we've got distributors there. So we're constantly looking for new distributors all the time, because as you know, it's a project that is sort of family run, but at the same time, we're always a growing company. And I always believe people who use our products, they never want to use anything else, because they realize that there's nothing like it. And when they use it, they feel so good. It makes them feel really relieved. And so many people have been in very dire situations where their situation has been so much and even during this pandemic, where people said, you know what, if it wasn't for the Mariandina, I don't think I would have been able to actually come through this. So they've had a lot of feedback like that. And it shows you that your body, the way the Creator made us, is so long as we can listen to our bodies and let the body do what it was designed to do, just heal itself, which is what Professor Ssali really emphasized, the power of the immune system and how the immune system can actually get to if it's nourished properly, it can repair the body and heal the entire system and fend off any imbalances or disorders.
I remember, it takes me back actually for when I first came across the products, and thank you so much. I mean, you know, just like, yeah, like that story around the bank. Yeah.
Yes.
Like, that's, yeah. That's like, how do you, if he's healing the people and he's being funded by these same said people and healing the people, it's a win-win. I remember, in fact, I remember meeting Credu Mutawa in South Africa many years ago before he passed, back in 2003. And he was talking about different plants that were being outlawed, you know, so that, you know, for HIV/AIDS. Yeah. So, you know, I recognize that. I tell you what, when I do take Mariandina, you know, obviously health is an ongoing thing, and you if you like rotate, you know, your regime, right? But when I'm breastfeeding, yeah, I take the Mariandina supplement. Yeah. And if anyone hasn't taken Mariandina supplements, when I take the tablet form actually, yeah, I found that the breast milk is so rich. Yeah, so rich, totally
That's
different.
true. Totally
Yeah,
different. And you know what?
totally different. Yeah, it's like cream.
You know what? As you're saying that, a lot of our people in Ghana, they actually say some of them have actually been in a space where they have find it difficult to have children. So they've been in a space where they've been trying for a baby and they haven't. When they took Marina A and B, they found that they got within 2 months they became pregnant, and they were so surprised. And some of them called it the Mariandina baby. There's got 2 testimonies out there who literally said that. But Mariandina is a nourishing aspect in that it actually assists the body to do what it does best, which is to really stay and maintain good health. In fact, what we're realizing today, the nature of our systems is to really express and optimize wellness in every area of your system. What happens is that when we are in a state of deficiency, when we're in a state of what they call degeneration, or we are moved into drug dependency, or you're in a state where you're constantly having what they call illnesses, or you're constantly in a state of listless, feeling weak, tired all the time, where your system is actually creating what I'll call symptoms. The body is speaking, but many times we're not listening to the body. And when we don't listen to the body goes into a state where it tries to create coping mechanisms, which can become inflammation or chronic inflammation. So what we're realizing today is that nutrients play such a huge key role in our wellness. And when Professor Ssali was doing his research, he just bang anything. Some people said, Professor, how did you stumble across Mariandina? And he also scratched and said, do you think that we as African people cannot be creative and create something that is revolutionary, is literally, I mean, after doing what he did with the in the ear, nose, and throat field, he was able to go and use the same mindset to create something revolutionary in healing. And if I can tell you the amount of testimonies for all kinds of conditions, all because of the fact that he realized one thing: the immune system was the master key to the healing the body. And once he could optimize that, give it the nutrients required in the right formulation, the body would switch on the right healing tools to really repair the whole system. Now, for some people, sometimes they say, well, I mean, if this thing is so good, why isn't it everywhere? Why isn't it in all the shops and all the businesses, and why are they selling it everywhere? One thing you've got to remember is that you mentioned something earlier on. We're in a time where the world sometimes seems upside down. Holistic health has been given a bad name in terms of the fact that people have been told, oh, you know what, don't trust anybody who's selling herbs, or but now the whole world is waking up to a whole world of natural medicine, holistic remedies. People are moving away from what they call conventional stuff, and they're moving into what they call nature's natural remedies. So they're realizing the power of herbs, the power of nutrients such as vitamins, minerals, enzymes, amino acids, tissue salts, the power of really utilizing what I would call special superfoods in terms of nourishing the body and also optimizing your body's capacity to respond. Many times, if you're lacking chromium, your pancreas relies on chromium to make insulin. If you don't have chromium, you'll never be able to make insulin. And that is what balances your blood sugar level. If you're low in magnesium, you'll have what they call poor insulin resistance. In fact, you find that you have high blood sugar levels and high insulin levels. If you're low in calcium, your bones will be affected. If you're low in things like iodine. Iodine is the food for the thyroid. Your thyroid is the master gland which actually controls metabolism and many other things. You're finding it today, if you're low in things like manganese, your bones will be affected. We are also realizing today that our entire system is so dependent on these micronutrients and antioxidants. And if we're realizing that your entire system is needing copper for better absorption of iron, your system needs B vitamins for good hormone balance, especially the B6. And at the same time, today we are seeing that the way our food is being farmed, we are seeing that a lot of our food is being picked raw and put into the supermarket. So it ripens in the supermarket, but it misses out on one of the most important nutrient forming or nutrient dense forming times, which is the sun ripening process. That is why food that is grown in the sunshine of part of the world, when you go back home and you taste the food, it's different. Say, wow, this food tastes fresh. It's because get another bust of it, because again, we are missing out on the essence or the vibratory energy that is imparted by the sun energy. And today we're seeing that a lot of our food has become genetically modified with seedless oranges, seedless grapes, seedless lemons, seedless tangerines. A lot of our stuff has become what we call radiated before it goes into the supermarkets, so it can last a longer on the shelf life, have a longer shelf life. We're also seeing that a lot of our food sometimes is sprayed with a lot of heavy pesticides and herbicides and everything. So we are now having a state of affairs where a lot of our people are being fed but not actually nourished by the essence of the nutrients, because a lot of the food is missing in some of these essential trace minerals that really provide optimal wellness for the body. And that's why we're seeing even our young children becoming unwell and now even having poor immune function, because a lot of this is because of the fact that we moved into an era of refined foods and processed foods and pick-me-up meals and microwave meals and all these stuff that literally denies us of the very nutrition. And we're seeing that there's a rapid aging process taking place, as well as also in a situation where we are seeing a lot of our what we call age-related diseases plaguing our elderly. By the time they're 50, 55, they're having a walking stick, or they've got a condition of diabetes or high blood pressure or something that is what they call an underlying condition. So we have to think about, why is it today we're seeing a lot of our brothers suffering from prostate cancer, a lot of our sisters suffering from fibroids. These are all situations that actually are only present because of the fact that our systems have actually been compromised by the environment we're living in. We are seeing a war on our bodies, an environmental war that's pollutants, toxins, resulting and causing more diseases. But why Mariandina? Mariandina is essential because it helps you to detox and cleanse. It helps you to nourish the body. We've got literally over 99 different nutrients that help to really create the body's internal environment, or the internal environment that will help the body to heal itself. Now, when you talk about the body healing itself, the body is doing multiple things all the time. And in fact, if you look at nature, nature has been so gifted in that it's given us reflections of body parts in the foods we eat. If you look at the carrot has got, if you cut a carrot in half, it looks like your eye. And literally you find that the carrot has something called beta carotene. Beta carotene is the number one nutrient that the body uses to fight off any infection. And if you are low in beta carotene, where we are in this COVID-19 season, you will find many people falling into COVID illness because of low levels of what? Beta carotene. But they're not.
All right, so so we're using the word SOVID at the moment.
Okay. No, I understand. Yeah, we want to keep it real. Unreal.
We get strikes. We can't.
I know, 3 strikes and you're out. This time I know.
Don't to share what we know.
Yeah. Yes,
so
we're using
SOVID and we're using Maxine.
Okay. I like that.
Okay. Sorry for any Maximes out there. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
That's okay.
All right. Okay. And I also want to, I just want to pause you there. It's a good opportunity to pause you there as well, because anybody, I do see a question inside of the chat. Sister, it's I Am Natural Mystic. If you'd like to come in on the conversation, if you click the link, you can come live with us and ask your question to our doctor here inside of the space. I think it's very important that, we engage. Yeah, he will allow to have a small, very brief consultation. So keep it brief, but if you want to come through, today's the day. We come bringing gifts. So come in on the conversation. One of the comments we have here, and the question is, can it stimulate hair growth then? Yeah, so can it do that after, say, alopecia or menopause?
Absolutely. One thing we've got to remember is that our systems are always growing. Our hair is growing. Everything is growing. We're just like plants. We're constantly in flourishing states. What causes us to sometimes what I would call lose aspects of who we are is because of the fact that, yes, we're all going to age. It's a natural process. Everybody's going to age because of just that's how our bodies are. As moment we as time passes, the weather changes and weather pollutants and everything. We just there's going to be hormone decline. There's going to be all kinds of issues around what we call deficiency related conditions. But when somebody talks about alopecia or hair loss, it's also related to the fact that many times the follicles could be damaged and also infected. And and also we need to look at the fact that sometimes the skin, I always talk about loving the skin you're in, because if you begin by loving the skin you're in, you'll begin to enter into a space where you realize that your skin, being the largest organ, whatever we put on the skin is actually going straight into the bloodstream. And it means that we have to really look after ourselves better by actually creating what I would call a better environment for the body, which is to heal by using certain key nutrients. Yes, Marina can do it for you in terms of stimulating the system to function better, but it actually is able to really stimulate better hair growth, better nail growth. Why? Because all these things, like when I talk about loving the skin you're in, your nails, your hair, they're all made of what we call, they all come from nutrients from inside the body. So when the body is deficient in nutrients or there's a hormone imbalance, you can have what they call hair loss related to hormone imbalance or hormone decline. So it's always good to find out what the root cause of the problem is. And many times people are lacking B vitamins, or they're lacking zinc, or they're lacking selenium, or they're lacking certain nutrients that actually cause a degeneration of their hair. Or I mean, for some people, they're in a state where, like I said, if they've got alopecia, their situation sometimes can be triggered by what we call an infection, or sometimes chemicals that have been put on the hair that are damaging the scalp. Or in many cases, you find that for some people, they've been in a situation where over a long period of time, there's been what they call a deficiency of cortisol, or deficiency of what they call certain hormones that actually are responsible for balancing hair growth. And if you are in that situation, you, like I mentioned earlier, to do with fibroids and polycystic ovaries or things like these are, a hormone imbalance can create so many symptoms. And many times, if you don't understand that the hormone that is actually deficient, you will actually go into a situation where you now have what they call hormone-related symptoms. One thing I also think with people who got hot flashes, menopausal symptoms like night sweats and things like that, as mentioned by our sister there, it is very important to realize that some people get pre-menopausal symptoms. So we have to try and realize all these things are related to the hormonal system. Marina B is very good at responding to that, in that it's got a lot of nutrients that stimulate the glands. Your hormones are messengers. They're chemical messengers. They're telling the body what to do, when to do it. For men, after the age of 40, we'll start to have a decline in testosterone and DHEA. These are male hormones that the body produces for men. But after the age of 40, that's why we have what they call male balding patterns, or we have what we call a situation where people are going through loss of muscle mass, or we have what they call poor sleeping patterns, and all kinds of things, fatigue, and many other things, erectile dysfunction, and many other things that can happen as a result of loss of hormone function. And at the same time, for women, if they're low in estrogen or low in progesterone or low in cortisol, or these are all hormones that actually are very important to actually balance the female's cycle. So it's very important for us to realize that these hormones are actually made in our system, and our system needs nutrients to make them. If you don't have what we call the nutrients, the body cannot make what is required to move forward. That's where I can put it.
Okay, thank you for that. And if anyone else wants to come on, do let us know, and I will. You'll have to come in with your face showing, because it won't let you in the building without it. Mic on and face showing. So I say it again, you can come in. It's an opportunity to speak to our brother yourself. So if you have any questions or queries, I think it's important for us to get a sense of which ones to choose, because when you see the Mariandina, you think, okay, which one should I have? The supplement, should I have it in liquid form? Will it be the same? Will it have the same effect? So tell us a little bit about, we know Mariandina A, we've got and B and J. So it covers, for those who don't know, there's Mariandina A, B, J, and the syrup. Yeah. And a lot of people, I remember giving my children the syrup, actually. Yeah, when they were quite small as well. Yeah. Having them, water it down and, just put it in, different things.
Yeah, I mean, what is very important, I'm glad you've asked the question, because many people say, you've got 3 products, A, B, and J, and also the fourth one, which is the syrup. The tablet, the A, B, and J in tablet form, and they all do unique things. And some people say, why didn't the professor just bang everything together and just have one tablet and just do it like that? No,
right. I'm sure people are thinking that.
Yeah, they ask us, why did they have 3 of them? But
gratification age that we're living in.
Exactly. It's just one magic bullet solves it all. But you know what Professor Ssali wanted to give you is, and what he gave you and what is present now, he gave you something called Marina A. Marina A is an advanced composition of over, as you said, 28 nutrients, vitamins, minerals. We put there says vitamin C. Vitamin C is so essential for collagen. It's the most abundant, collagen is the most abundant tissue in the body, and it needs vitamin C in great amounts. In fact, what you're seeing today is that if you're lacking vitamin C, your system will become compromised. And in the past, when sailors used to go for long journeys, they used to suffer from scurvy because of lack of vitamin C. That's why they started taking lots of fruits and veg. But we need up to 1,500 milligrams of vitamin C on a daily basis. That's what the body is. Even though the government tells you only need 60 milligrams, but the body needs a lot more vitamin C. And at the same time, we also need things like vitamin E, which you also find in the Marina A. The vitamin E is so important. Why? Because it metabolizes cholesterol. In your body, cholesterol is not a bad thing, but what happens is that when you have what they call a buildup of cholesterol oxidative stress, it builds up and starts to narrow the arteries and can cause what they call blocked arteries or stroke. So what vitamin E does, it promotes good cell membrane function. It also helps to reduce the risk of heart disease, but also very importantly, it actually helps to keep the skin supple and also healthy. You also got vitamin B6 in there, which is very important for really optimizing producing of amino acids, but also most importantly, it's very important for hormone balance as well. You've also got things like magnesium, which you talked about earlier. Magnesium is so important for literally, if you've got type 2 diabetes, you usually find that people with type 2 diabetes are low in magnesium, and magnesium is helping you to relax the arteries and veins in your body. And that's what the body needs in terms of really maintaining what we call good circulatory function. At the same time, I mentioned iodine. Iodine is also Marina A, and it's very important for your thyroid. A lot of people suffer from what they call thyroid issues, and they get thyroid problems. The thyroid alone can bring at least 10 different symptoms. You can have what they call diabetes, starting with the thyroid imbalance. You can have cancer starting with the thyroid. You can have things like cognitive impairment. You can have a situation where you're experiencing a brain fog or dry skin, or a situation where you're having excessive weight gain or excessive weight loss, or you're in a situation where you're having muscle aches and pains just from the thyroid alone. And all that comes from a deficiency of iodine. And in our Western world, we have very low intake of iodine. So you find a lot of people are suffering from iodine deficiency issues, which then compromises the immune system, leads to further disease conditions. So everything Professor put in the Marina A, for example, he put copper, which is very important for absorption of iron. You put chromium, which is very important for you repairing the pancreas. At the same time, you also put folic acid, which is very important for repairing the DNA. So everything is targeted. If you're low in vitamin B12, you'll find that you have low mood function. And this is all why he put the nutrients in such a way so that the A is mainly focused on repairing cells and repairing what they call tissues, but also most importantly for stress relief and also energizing the body. It's the number one nutrient for boosting the immune system. That's why he focused. But after producing the A, he realized some people used to come with to the clinic with what they call poor hormonal function. And as we know today that hormone-related cancers, one of the leading cancers today in the world, breast cancer, cancer of the uterus, cancer of the cervix, for men, prostate cancer, testicular cancer. These are cancers that are hormone-related cancers. And now we're finding that many times people are experiencing this is because the immune system is been damaged by high toxins in the body, what we call auto-intoxication, reabsorption of waste that should be leaving the body. So we need to actually also find that if the person's system is actually in a situation where they're experiencing what we would call hormone imbalance because of dioxins or what I would call things that mimic. In our environment, we've got things that mimic our hormones. So we get what they call hormone mimickers, and they actually interfere with our endocrine systems, creating all kinds of hormone-related diseases. So Mariandina B is very important because what it does, it literally improves circulation. It actually improves because of improved circulation. It also is very good for what they call improving sexual organs and sexual function, but also very good for actually increasing what we call energy production, because your body cells are producing energy in every single moment. In fact, every cell in your body is a mitochondria that is there responsible for producing energy. But what we're finding with Mariandina B, you've got things like alfalfa. Alfalfa is known as the father of all nutrients because it contains every known vitamin in the whole world is found in alfalfa. You also have bee pollen in there. Bee pollen has been known all over the world as something that is very good in terms of helping cells to reproduce, but also stimulating your immunity. Beta carotene I mentioned is also in the Mariandina B, and this is again one of the #1 nutrients when it comes to what we call immunity, but also protecting you from infection. Cayenne is also in the Mariandina B. Again, these are circulatory herbs that actually improve circulation and also for helping what you call the cardiovascular system. We also got coenzyme Q10, a very powerful nutrient that is also very important for nourishing, needed in every cell. And this is literally aiding what they call cellular function and also improving heart function. Echinacea is known all over the world as the #1 immune boosting nutrient. Again, it's also in Mariandina B. You've also got ginkgo biloba, very quite important because in your brain you have what they call very fine capillaries, even in your eyes. Some people have what they call poor circulation or blocked arteries in the that can sometimes impair vision or impair brain function, all because of the fact that sometimes we know that ginkgo biloba has also been known to improve memory and also improve brain function. It's also in Mariandina B. They also put colonut. Colonut is a very powerful stimulant that is very good for relieving migraines. We also have got Siberian ginseng for release as a stimulant. Is very powerful in terms of stamina. Again, there's a time when we run out of Mariandina B because, again, if more men were using it to improve what I would call sexual function. Why? Because, again, it is literally great at improving what we call male and female libido. And we've also got one of the most expensive herbs called what they call golden seal, which actually is very important for helping with inflammation in the digestive tract, the respiratory tract, as well as also the urinary tract. Now, as we know, inflammation is something that our bodies create, and it should not stay there for longer. When it stays there for long periods of time, if you get a mosquito biting you, the inflammation is just a swelling, or is synonymous of swelling, or what we call pain or redness if your skin is light. So you'll find that people will actually end up in a situation where inflammation is not just happening on top of the skin, but inside the body you get inflammation. It can happen anywhere in the body. Anything with itis like arthritis, dermatitis, nephritis, or pancreatitis, anything with itis is synonymous of inflammation. So golden seal in the Mariandina B is helping to heal the inflammation. You've also got things like guarana, which are very powerful stimulants. Hawthorn berry is known as the #1 heart nutrient in the whole on the whole planet because, again, it is very good, important for heart function, lowers blood pressure, but also it helps to repair the heart and also optimize your heart function. And you also got things like licorice. Licorice is also well known for inflammation. You also put that in the Mariandina B. You've also got yellow dock, which is again for digestion. So that is just the Mariandina B alone. Very important, Mariandina B, remember, energy production, circulation, and also optimizing hormone function. When he produced that, they also realized that many times people came and there was, as you know, with a condition like HIV/AIDS, you can have what they call a variety of different opportunistic infections. And people sometimes came presenting all kinds of things, but we was able to treat those 18,000 people with 80% success rate because he realized one thing: the body's immune system, once it's optimized with the right nutrients, it will respond. And we've had such a great response in terms of people's feedback as from when the Marina came into its inception, it has managed to really respond to a variety of different challenges for people who have different conditions presenting and repair. There are even people who have general health. Some people who don't need, they're well, they say, I'm doing well. But you know what? I always believe the body's like a car. It's always burning nutrients. The body's never still. Even as you sit there in your sitting room or wherever you are, your heart is beating, you're breathing in and out, your cells are making energy, you're looking, you're hearing, you're literally like a combustion engine going all the time. So there, you're just like we add fuel to our cars, we need to optimize with fuel. Now, this is a food supplement. It's not going to take over your food. It's there to actually help to assist what is missing in the food. So when people take it, they say, wow, I feel more energy. I sleep a lot better. Pain that was on the side is gone. So, and this happens very, very quickly, because what Professor Ssali realizes that your body's system is literally, its response time is dependent on one thing. First of all, availability of nutrients, but also most importantly, your power to absorb the nutrients. Now, he also produced Marina J. The J, he found that a lot of people were actually suffering from toxicity or auto-intoxication. Toxicity or toxemia is what they sometimes call it, creates a lot of diseases. And some people, they have not actually done a detox for a long time. So this will not give you what we call anything, process where you can't leave the house. It was just a gentle detox, but it continues to remove toxins, because our bodies produce waste in the form of free radicals. They need to be cleaned out of the system. At the same time, with the things we eat every day contain a lot of what we talked about, the pesticides, the herbicides, and all these things. They're unavoidable. They've now got inbuilt pesticides and inbuilt things into our food. So we're eating things that literally have been highly chemicalized. In fact, today they're saying over 80,000 chemicals are in our environment, with over 7,000 just using food production and food preparation. So we are seeing that there's a high toxic overload on our bodies, and that is why we're seeing a rapid rise in cancers of all disease, because the body cannot cope with the level of toxins that are in circulation today, not just in our environment, but what we're eating and what we actually what I would call it, breathing in. So we're in a situation where we have to detox, and this is where Marina J comes in. It's a fantastic detox compound made of 29 herbs that really helps you to get rid of toxins. It starts by cleaning out the gut, because today we're realizing that the Royal Society of Medicine has said to us that over 65 health challenges come from what they call a toxic colon. And even the fact that when somebody becomes unwell and is in a critical state and they rush to hospital, the first thing they do is give them an enema, because they want to clean that area just in case the problem is coming from that area. So we're realizing that if we're not actually taking in what we call herbs that will cleanse and detox and remove toxins, we're in a situation where the toxic buildup can lead to further challenges. Our livers are compromised today because of the fact that they're having to do, which is the main workhorse for the body in terms of detoxification. This is where Marina J has its own, because it has a lot of liver nutrients like bayberry. Bayberry is one of the top liver nutrients. It's found in Marina J. And you also have things like dandelion, also a very powerful herb known to help the liver to detox and cleanse itself. You also have things like milk thistle in the Mariandina. Now, Mariandina also has things like astragalus, which is one of the most powerful and what I would call immune boosting nutrients, again used to actually lower blood pressure and also optimize the body's system as a whole. But also things like calendula is in the Marina J. You've got things like chamomile in the Marina J, which is also a natural anti-inflammatory. You've got things like cleavers, which relieves edema and jaundice and lymph swellings. You've also got camphor, which is known to treat inflammation, repair bones and tissues, and also skin ulcers. And we've also got things like spirulina in the Mariandina J, which is again known to have a wide variety of very powerful nutrients that help the system as a whole in terms of healing. You've also got things like Oregon grape, which deals with psoriasis. So what he managed to put together is the Marina in such a way that it would be like a heal-all. What do you mean by that? It literally helps the body to do what it does best, which is heal itself. Many times what he wanted to do is to make sure that people were able to have access to nutrients even when we lived in the cities where we couldn't grow our own foods, even when we lived in the cities where we had low access to herbs and things, we would have something that was in a bottle that was prepared and ready to take at any point in time. Many people have traveled with Marina in terms of prevention, and they've used it as a way of malaria prevention by boosting the immune systems. Other people have taken it as a general nutrient that they use on a regular basis because of the fact that it's a one all-in supplement. Now, he also realized that many children come with all kinds of challenges in terms of childhood diseases. Many of our children today are also challenged by the pandemic issues at the moment, and where a lot of them have taken the vaccine, as we call it, or been forced to, but we find that we need to actually make sure that our children's health is also taken care of, because now they have also become the number one target for who. So we now need to actually find a way of really improving the immune system by nourishing their system with nutrients, because as they grow up, remember, they're developing, they're nurtured, they're literally in a space where they need to have those young immune systems strengthened with nutrients. Many times children don't want to eat vegetables. They don't say, mommy, I don't want to eat vegetables. And they go in and say, no, mommy, I don't want to eat that. So they refuse to eat things that may be good for them, or maybe because of the fact maybe they're just not aware of. Obviously, they're young, they're not aware of what the goodnesses in vegetables and fruits and things like that. So we've got to now realize that many childhood diseases like congenital defects and things like that can also be repaired and regenerated by proper nutrition. A lot of children sometimes start off with a very deficient state of affairs in terms of the internal environment, and sometimes where the mother's missing certain nutrients, they actually now don't develop properly because of lack of key nutrients. They get a cleft palate, or they have what they call congenital defects that can result of deficiencies. There's so much research that is linking nutrient deficiencies to congenital defects. And within the Marina syrup, a lot of children today have developed things like eczema. They're having asthma. They're having all kinds of situations where they're having all kinds of childhood diseases like meningitis and all kinds of things so we have to see, how do we boost the immune system? We start off by actually providing them with the folic acid, which is very important for repairing their DNA and also for normal cell replication, because they need that as they develop and grow. They also need zinc biloba for their developing brain to improve their memory. They also need things like Siberian ginseng. Again, that is very good for improving their stamina. Hawthorn is very good also for the heart. Their thyroid, as it develops, needs iodine. They also need manganese and potassium. Now, within Marina, we also have something called birch leaf, which is really good at also optimizing what we call for conditions like cystitis, or helping again with the conditions such as preventing any form of childhood diseases. So we are also realizing that many children are also in a sense where they have a continuous cold, always having a running nose, and that is also a sign of poor immune function. Always remember that the immune system itself, it is always based on one thing. How the body responds is always about what is inside the body. Many times we have realized that some children have got eczema that never heals, and that's we've got within the Marina syrup, we've got something called sarsaparilla. Sarsaparilla actually is one of the only nutrients on the planet that aids in the improvement of eczema and also psoriasis and many other skin diseases. Again, we've got all the B vitamins, B1, B2, B3. Again, as children develop, they need all these B vitamins. But you see, what we're having is children suffering from rickets, which again, all kinds of what they call childhood conditions, that sometimes the child's development is compromised because they're never really given the support they required as they develop. And this is where you'll find that the children's intelligence and the children's well-being, their sense of fun and play is enhanced and well-being by actually nutrients as well. So when it comes to choosing Mariandina, that's what we want to look at now. We have to remember one thing. Everything that we've been talking about is also about the content of Mariandina. There's over 99 different antioxidants, and all these are targeting specific parts of the body. Now, the first question we would like to also ask ourselves is, how safe is Mariandina? Mariandina is safe. Okay, why is it safe? Because it's made of natural nutrients. It's been actually tried and tested for 33 years. It's been in use. People have been using it and are getting benefit from it. We've had people who have actually used it from all kinds of walks of life, and they from all races have used it and have found great benefit. It is very good for mopping up impurities in the body, which will come as free radicals. It is rich in antioxidants and also can be used alongside your prescription. If you're diabetic medication or high blood pressure medication, you can use it alongside that, and also in harmony with what your doctor is saying, so that we can now get a situation where we have an integrated approach. And you find that as you use it, your doctor will monitor your progress, and they will tell you that now you can lower your dosage. Now, we always say this, that if you are pregnant and you only need to use Marina A and B during the pregnancy, and you can use the J afterwards, but not during the pregnancy. And also at the same time, one of the things we're saying is that for some people, certain conditions have become so prevalent in their life that they start to live with their conditions, and it starts to become part of their way of thinking. But as you can see, as on the screen there, a lot of testimonies from around the world have been actually forthcoming from people in Ghana, people in Nigeria, people in the UK, people in Jamaica, and people in Malawi and South Africa who've continued to use this product and literally had great benefit. I want to, if with your permission, just go through certain conditions that I think people would give an idea of what exactly Marina can do. Because one of the things we're going to start off with is literally looking at something like HIV/AIDS. Professor Ssali spent an entire season focusing in this area. In fact, he was at the time of he's the height of Mariandina in terms of exposure. He was the leading doctor talking about healing HIV/AIDS using nutrition, and he was on CNN because he was able to actually demonstrate to CNN staff who had come to visit the clinic in Uganda, and he was able to share with them that you can use nutrition to heal HIV/AIDS successfully, and people can continue living with HIV, but literally not dying from it. And he was able to demonstrate how he was able to lower the viral load and also raise the CD4 count. And this he did very successfully and demonstrated in so many magazines, in journals across the world. He was able to get accolades from actually just sharing his method of healing, and he did different symposiums just on healing HIV. And this was his main body of work. But we've also realized as we go along is that Professor Ssali also realized that the brain also came with many conditions like Alzheimer's. Today we think it was having from Alzheimer's disease or Parkinson's disease or dementia. Dementia is killing more people than heart disease today. And yet these brain diseases have only shot up because of the fact that there's a neurotoxin called aluminium that is being introduced into our system through the food we eat, in plastic foil, paper foil, and all these what we call aluminium residues in deodorants and all these things. So we're getting aluminium poisoning in pots. If you're still using aluminium pots, I would suggest throw them away, get stainless steel, because you don't want to poison yourself slowly. And this is where we're leading into brain diseases like Alzheimer's. They're finding, there was a doctor called Dr. Blaylock, and he found that there's an accumulation of a protein called beta amyloid in our brains linked to aluminium toxicity. So we're now knowing that with Marina A, B, and J, we're again able to help people with actually creating a better state of them reversing some of these conditions like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and dementia. Anybody who's got arthritis is a very debilitating condition. What does it do? It's always because of joint wear and tear. The joints start to rub and cause pain, and people are suffering because there's supposed to be a fluid within the joints. But when the fluid actually is run out, the joints are rubbing against each other. That's what's caused a lot of pain. What Marina is able to do is to repair the cartilage and also help to cushion the joints and also create what they call a sense of detoxifying, because a lot of toxins cause pain in those joints. And this is going to find that you can find that some people find it difficult moving up the stairs. They're in a lot of pain because of what I'm talking about. So any arthritic conditions can be helped with Mariandina. Asthma, we've had people who've got constant using of the pump. They're always having whenever asthma attack, but obviously that's to create relief. But again, some people call it the asthma eczema syndrome, where they're having a lot of what we call challenges because of the pollutants. So what we've also seen within Mariandina, as people use Marina, especially A, B, and J tablets, they can now correct this condition so that the body is now not being in a state where the immune system, which is triggered into this triggering the asthma attacks, is actually brought into control, and they can actually eventually stop the frequency of using the pump, and eventually find that the asthma will completely clear. We've had a lot of testimonies with breast cancer, people who had breast cancer, lump in the breast, and the lump is completely dissolved, and they've gone into a state where they're no longer having breast cancer. Now, if you say that to somebody, they say, no, how's that possible? When somebody gets cancer, it's a terminal condition. No, today people are realizing that there's so much power in healing of herbs and cancer. You just have to really look at what we call the natural world to realize that there's so much that can be done around breast cancer, prostate cancer. We talked about bronchitis is another one, inflammation of the bronchial area. Again, people having what they call, we mentioned anything with itis is to do with inflammation of the bronchial area. So Mariandina is very successful at also treating the lung, the respiratory tract, and also helping to reduce inflammation. We mentioned things like golden seal, cleavers, and chamomile. These are all, and licorice, those are natural anti-inflammatories within Mariandina to do just that. Chronic fatigue is another condition, okay, where people actually are feeling tired. They wake up tired, they go to bed tired, and they wake up tired again. They're always tired. You're probably saying, oh, I feel fatigued the whole day, can't do anything. Again, this condition is called fibromyalgia. Again, for some people, we've had great success in terms of people getting relief from this. Again, using the Mariandina range A, B, and G at a high dosage, which would help to really correct a little what we call the mycoplasma that is causing this condition to be the way it is. Colitis is inflammation in the colon. Again, we know that because of the food we're eating, sometimes the colon wall can become inflamed. And today we're seeing people who are cutting whole pieces of their colon out of their system in operation format. So if we can actually use these herbs to repair the colon area, to reduce what they call the cancer that can start along anywhere in our colon tract, we can actually improve the wellness in this area. We've also got people who are addicted. If you are finding yourself addicted to certain hard drugs like heroin or cocaine, Mariandina is also very good for helping you to break the cycle. If you were a chain smoker, you find if you take Mariandina, you won't get the urge to smoke all the time, because again, it helps to break addictions. And how does it do that? It uses the fact that your body has got antibodies that keep stimulating and urging you to move in that direction. So Mariandina corrects that by helping you to break the cycle and help you to come off or wean you off a lot of what they call this dependency cycle. Depression is something that many people sometimes suffer with, feeling low, and Mariandina is one nutrient, especially Mariandina A, has got what we call things that actually give you happy brain chemicals. You feel happy within yourself. Now I say, well, happiness is always inside of you, but you have to create your own happiness, and that starts with chemical nature, because you create your own healing chemicals or harmful chemicals based on the thoughts that you're having in your head. So every time you're in a state of really low vibrational state, you're actually creating what we call bad medicine for your system. That is why you can actually harm yourself through your thoughts, but also you can create the right internal environment that can keep your body happy by actually having the right nutrients like B12 and cobalt, and these are all mood nutrients, and they're also in Mariandina A. That's why you find the people who use Mariandina A, the depression goes away, they feel the anxiety and all things that they start to be more happy within themselves. Diabetes is a condition. You got type 1 and type 2 diabetes. This condition actually is related to poor blood sugar control. Usually it's related to certain cells in the pancreas that actually stop producing insulin. These are called insulin secreting cells, and these are called islets of Langerhans. They are necessary for producing insulin. They need chromium. And in Mariandina, you have chromium. You have also other nutrients that help to repair the pancreas, stop the pancreas from attacking itself, like what happens in type 1 diabetes. And for type 2, you got something that corrects it with the magnesium and other nutrients to help to improve blood sugar regulation. And we've got many people with testimonies of diabetes, people who have come off the insulin through their guidance with their doctor, but also have managed to actually move out of this dangerous condition, which is the #1 cause of amputation in the world, #1 cause of glaucoma and all kinds of conditions that literally damage our people's lives. So we have to realize that we have to go back to our forefathers and foremothers and use what nature has already put in place, because they lived in a way that the herbs were for the healing of the nation. But today we've gone out of that cycle and moved into what they call magic bullets, painkilling, drug dependency, and all kinds of things around what we call operations, that what they call root cause canal treatments, and all kinds of things that literally never solve anything. No operation is going to solve nothing for you. It's just going to really postpone some issue for a later date. So it's better to use your body's innate healing power to do what it was designed to do, and it does it through nutrition, it does it through superfoods, it does it through nutrients, it does it through what are called nature's natural remedies. Today, we're seeing that people may be suffering from things like genital herpes. Again, conditions, what we call STIs, are also result from the fact that our system does not have the power to fight off infection. Or you find that we are in a situation where the person is constantly in constant pain or discomfort, again, because they're not realizing all these viruses, once they come into the system, the only reason why they cause pain and discomfort is because the system is got a lowered immune system. It can't fight off or protect or heal itself. And we've had some people who have recovered even during HIV. Is one of the conditions that comes up for many people is genital herpes, and this can be solved with Marina A, B, and J. Coronary heart disease, all kinds of things, high blood pressure, all these things, any heart condition can always improve with Marina. Why? Because we've got all the nutrients that do that. Why? Because the heart is constantly working. It needs fuel. The reason why our heart becomes weaker or we develop high blood pressure or because of the kidneys are not working properly, again, Marina helps to optimize kidney function. It helps to optimize heart function. It also helps to optimize what they call clean the arteries and veins out. So where the clogging factor, where what causes leads to strokes and leads to heart attacks and leads to angina and leads to all these heart conditions, is because of low levels of nutrients. Today we're seeing many people are having what they call a whole bag of pills. They don't know what pill to take. They start with one pill, but they end up with 20 pills, one to combat the other one. So what you always want to do is remember, your system can heal itself once it's given the right remedies required. Today we're seeing conditions like hepatitis B with no known treatment at the moment in the Western world. Yet Marina is very good at actually helping to treat this virus and also helping to this condition of hepatitis B and C. We've had some people who have recovered from that. People with irritable bowel syndrome or what they call Crohn's disease. Again, these people are ending up in a situation where they have to be in a situation where they have what they call to watch what they eat and everything, because they can't eat certain things. Again, this is because the immune system is disrupted the natural cycle, and it is now triggering certain conditions instead of assisting what we term as autoimmune diseases. Kidney diseases, we've had people who've come off dialysis. Yes, off dialysis using the Marina range. Why? Because again, it is corrective. What Professor Ssali realized is that when he was doing his research, he realized a lot of people were suffering from conditions they didn't have to. He'd been in the NHS for over 40 years serving the NHS. He came out of the NHS. No, the way we're treating things in the NHS can be improved by actually integrating it with nutritional compounds that actually get rid of the problem permanently, so that you don't have what they call recurring issues. Somebody's on high blood pressure medication for the rest of their life. They're on insulin for the rest of their life. Professor Ssali wanted to break that cycle and move into a state where people can actually use things that will actually correct things at the very root. Today, people are suffering from lupus. Lupus is an autoimmune condition where the body is attacking itself, and literally you find that people can get very bad skin, get all kinds of skin lesions, or they become emaciated, or they become challenged, and they have sores in different parts of the body or different aches, because lupus is a very dangerous condition that the immune system is attacking. Is called friendly fire. So this can be corrected fully with Mariandina A, B, and J, and the person can start to live a normal life. People who've got, we mentioned loss of libido. Again, this is a challenge where people are now relying on things like Viagra and things like that, and these can actually can damage the person long term. But if you can actually use nature's natural stimulants, you can actually have better sexual function and also have an optimized state of that area, rather than actually using these things that actually create what they call damaging aspects or side effects that actually lead to further side effects. Many times people have gone into menopause, early menopause, okay? And early menopause comes as a result of the fact that for some reason we have moved into a state where women are being exposed to what they call dioxins, which now they're putting and lacing in tampons or a lot of the sanitary pads. They put these dioxins so women can bleed more. But this is a way sometimes the industry uses just to sell people more things so that they can get away with it. We're realizing now, just by actually addressing hormone health, Marina has been able to help many women who are suffering from hot flushes and heart palpitations and night sweats, where they sweat at night and they just feel literally can't live life anymore. They literally have in the middle of winter, they don't even wear jackets anymore. They literally in a space where they feel very uncomfortable in the summertime as well. So you can change all that just by using Mariandina A, B, and J, and this will actually readjust. Menopause is not a disease. It's just a phase of life. Just like men will get andropause, this is another phase of life. So we have to realize that nature does not make mistakes. It just helps us to move through different seasons. And it has already made the herbs that are there to correct and balance the body. But many times we're not aware of them. Things like Agnes cactus, wild yam, things like dong quai. These are all part of what they call nutrients that you'll also find in the Mariandina range that can help you to adjust to that phase of life. We've had people with very bad period pain. They can't move. They're always stuck at home. They can't, literally in a state where they're saying, oh, you know what, I had, they have to take 2 days off work or 3 days off work because my period's coming on and it's going to be very bad. So this is called dysmenorrhea, and this can be helped just again by using nutrients. Mariandina A, B, and J will help you to actually have better period function. It will give you what they call a correct cycle. It will also help you to actually move out of the cycle of what we call strong painkillers just to get through that season of your life. So these are things that I'm talking about because there's so many testimonies about what I'm talking about. It's not just me just saying it for the sake of saying it. Pneumonia is something that we're seeing in this season is killing so many people. Again, most of our loved ones we've lost.
Well, I'm glad you went on to pneumonia, because pneumonia has come up as part of this COVID situation quite a lot for people because it's impacting on the lungs. But I want to go back a little bit because most, and I really appreciate you really giving us a real powerful rundown of what the products do and how you work with them to in combination. I think that's really important as well, and it's clear because when you buy them you think, okay, you might go to somewhere and think, okay, I've seen Mariandina, but which one should I get? And so I'm hoping that this clears it up for people today as well, right? But you did touch on something. You touched on the male menopause, the andropause. Yeah, and I think that's a really important. A lot of men don't really know about andropause, and I think it's important to address it. Especially you being a male, I think it's really important to address and signs for men to look out for, and also what how the Mariandina can help. What time and frame does that start to happen to men? What does it look like? Because a lot of men, may not know it. It comes in different ways to the female, but it comes.
It's a very good point, Sister Queen. But we also want to realize that the times we're living in, and just give you an example, is that Jamaica today has been called the prostate cancer capital, Kingston, in the whole world. Why? Because it has the highest level of prostate cancer patients in the whole world, in Jamaica, in Kingston. So we must have to think about, why is it happening in Kingston like that? Okay, and yet men all over the world are not doing anything different than our brothers in Jamaica. So it means that something is going on in Jamaica that is leading to this sort of expression. And we're seeing even men of African origin. There is also a state where our brothers are having, after the age of 40, people are tending to have prostate inflammation, prostate congestion, prostate, what we call enlargement. And this can all be linked back to what I'm talking about, which is hormone imbalance. Today, we're seeing that prostate gland, which is what they call a gland that is an excretory gland, is supposed to remove toxins as well from that area. But if it becomes enlarged, there's 2 ducts that pass through that, leading to the penis, that actually narrow themselves because of the fact that there is enlargement. So it means that now people have challenges around frequent urination, or trouble urinating, or pain in urination, or burning sensation in urinating, or they have to wake up 10 or 4 times a night just to. So the treatment that is offered in the conventional way is very aggressive. Some people have had their whole prostate removed, or cut away, or bore a hole to the prostate so they can pee. So one of the things that we're seeing is that nobody ever talks about the link to what we call hormone imbalance and prostate inflammation. Nobody talks about the link to prostate enlargement or prostate congestion and what we call hormone imbalance. Today we're seeing that men, as men, we are now in a situation where, as we know, sometimes as men we're reluctant even to go for a checkup, and we find that, oh, we know to put that off. Women are super healthy in terms of getting rich, looking after themselves, but as men, we neglect it. We say, I'm still walking around, I'm still good. The body is quite resilient, it's quite strong, okay, but eventually, I always tell people, you can't see blood moving around your body, all right? But one thing, when the body starts to go wrong, he will let you know that things are going wrong. You will hear it as loud as you can hear it in the form of pain, discomfort, you can't sleep, night sweats, you feel it in terms of all kinds of things. Now, when it comes to hormone imbalance, we have to remember is that you can have over 50 different symptoms, and I'll just mention some of them. One of them is anxiety that affects men as we pass the age of 40. We'll find that even sometimes people are getting what they call andropause symptoms. Hair loss is also something that's very common. Men start what they call male pattern balding, again related to hormone imbalance. You can have what they call memory loss, where people start to get dementia as a result relating to, again, to hormone imbalance. You can have what they call vascular disorders, when your vascular system, with your supply circulation system, is not working properly. You can have gallbladder problems. You can also have reduced lean muscle mass, or the decrease in muscle mass. You can also have a situation where you wake up in the morning and you're very tired, morning and evening fatigue. You can have what they call excessive stress, just as a result of hormone imbalance. You can also have a cognitive decline, where your cognitive facilities are going to be sharp, you'll lose your sharpness. Or you can have a situation where you're having osteoporosis or headaches, or you can't sleep at night, you become irritable, or puffiness and bloating, difficulty sleeping. Or you have a situation where you have erosion of your libido, or lower stamina, or you have a situation where you're having what they call decreased mental clarity, your skin tone changes. You have a situation where you are having what we call you're becoming slightly feeling what they call plaque building up in your arteries. All these can be related back to what I would call the area of hormone imbalance. And this leads us back to one thing. There's some very key components in terms of hormones that men make, testosterone being one of them. As testosterone drops, then you're going to see a situation where the system will be in a situation where it will produce a range of what I would call a range of symptoms as a result of low levels of testosterone. If one is in a situation where they have low levels of DHEA, there will also be a range of symptoms there. Now, just to share with you, if people who are suffering from low testosterone, they will have what they call a situation where they may develop incontinence, or foggy thinking, or decreased stamina, decreased erections, or increased urinary urgency, or memory lapses, or a decrease in competitiveness. So there's in a situation where they're having sleep disturbances, all because of low levels of DHEA and low levels of testosterone. Now, if you've got a situation where because men and women both produce male and female hormones, okay? So women will produce more female hormones than men, and women will produce more male hormones, but women will also produce testosterone and DHA, but in low amounts. But while men will produce more testosterone and DHA. So as we age, there's something called hormone decline. And that hormone decline starts to impact us on many levels. It reduces the level of cortisol in the body. Now, this is for women and men. You'll find that when their levels of cortisol are low, they'll get angry, and you find that they'll stay angry for long periods of time, not knowing how to break out of that anger cycle. Or they find that if it's a female, they might ring all their friends, say, oh, do you know what he did? I can't believe it. And for days, they'll be ringing people. And literally after a few days, they'll calm down. So for men, you might also find the same thing happening as well. So this is because there's a certain key hormone called cortisol. When it's in a deficient state, it causes that situation where we can't come out of an angry situation or an upset or something that ruffles our feathers. It lingers in our life, or lingers in the day, or lingers in the whole week, and we just, because of low levels of cortisol. When your cortisol levels are good, something will happen, boom, you'll say, okay, I'll let go. That's okay. Let's carry on. What are we doing next? But that's how we're looking at the hormones and what they do. For example, what we're seeing, you'll find that for men as well, if they're low in things like progesterone, you'll find that this can bring on low libido. It can bring on puffiness and bloating. It can bring on what they call leg cramps, or things that where they're quick to anger, or they're having a situation. Now, we may see these as just behavioral expressions, but they're all linked back to hormone health. And because your hormones govern the way you express yourself, your hormones govern the way you behave, your hormones govern the way you interpret the world that you're around you, because we're a chemical factory inside of ourselves. In fact, the vasopressin in your brain, the brain opioids, all these are part of what we call the body telling you what to do, how to go about. So everything is constantly in a state of transmission of information. But it's the fact that we've got something I mentioned earlier called hormone mimickers. These come in the form of phthalates. They mimic our hormones. So when we are drinking water from plastic bottles, when we're having a lot of our plastic wrapped in cling film, everything wrapped in lined in the drink cartons, lined in with film, everything's stored in plastic. We put plastic into the microwave. So we are in a situation where we are overloaded with so much plastic residue. Now science is showing that there's a mother who they found traces of plastic in the fetus, in the embryonic fluid, and they found that plastic residue in the oceans is now being eaten by the fish, and then we eat the fish, and so we're in a cycle where we are being the phthalates are literally destroying our endocrine system. There was a book that was written by Deborah Cadbury called The Feminization of Nature, where she noticed that in the rivers and lakes of Florida, a lot of the alligators were becoming female, and a lot of the frogs were no longer having spawn. So we're in a situation where the birds in that area of Florida, called Lake Apopko, they were actually abandoning their nests. And this is now also was shown by when the early days when the Dr. Hobbs gave women something called DES to improve pregnancies. They found later on that this hormonal compound actually disrupted and caused children to become deformed and a lot of congenital defects, and it was withdrawn. So today, a lot of sisters are relying sometimes on Depo-Provera and contraceptive pills, yet the Lancet Journal has now linked contraceptive pills to cancer of the breast and cancer of the uterus. And this is the thing that we've got to say. If you want to have a baby, you've got to find a situation where you are actually in a situation where now one has to choose is how can I use safer means rather than using something that is going to contribute to cancer and has literally been proven. So many people are put on the coil, inserted the coil inside of themselves. This coil is actually disrupting the hormonal cycle for women and actually leads to cancer. And when you tell them, they say, no, but I don't want to be pregnant. And I ask myself, why would you put yourself under that extreme risk? Recently in Uganda here, there was a case where one young girl had just got married and she was going abroad, and her husband said to her, you know what, I think we better have the coil inserted because you're quite young at the moment, and just so that we can not be bothered with any form of challenges around this. And literally the girl bled to death in Uganda. It was a story that shocked the whole of the country, how a young girl was being, as the coil was being inserted, the girl, they could not stop the bleeding, and it ruptured something inside, and the girl bled to death. And people were got to realize that these things are not as safe as they actually claim to be. So these are just examples about things, but obviously we're in a time and season where, like I said, what is seemed to be right is made upside down. We can't even, I always say here in Africa, we get our reference for health from everybody else but ourselves. We're always looking outside of ourselves for what is really the essence of health, the essence of well-being, and we always never want to actually take do our own research. We always want to just swallow whatever is being shared without actually looking a gift horse in the mouth and saying, is this gift they're bringing me that they're making mandatory? Does it have to be this way? But like I said, some people will die to know the truth, and they say, I wish I'd listened to my intuition. I wish I'd listened to my common sense. But that's where we are in. So when we talk about hormone health and hormone imbalances for men, we have to realize that today our brothers are being offered all kinds of procedures that could be well avoided if we use products like Mariandina to reduce inflammation, to correct what they call challenges that may be related to low-level hormone production, or challenges that be related to the fact that there's toxicity in the prostate, and there's a lot of prostate-friendly nutrients like saw palmetto. is one of the best friends for men is Sopomento. Pygenum africanum is another very good herb we can use as men. Another thing that we can use is lycopene. The prostate needs a lot of lycopene, and that is preventative. Again, eat more tomatoes, cook the tomatoes if you have to, because it releases more the lycopene, but also make sure that you're also doing prostate exercises. Again, leg raising, things like that, they all help our prostate remain healthy. But also at the same time, we can also use things. Zinc, eat more pumpkin seeds, get a chance to get the zinc inside of your system, because that is what the prostate needs to help remain healthy. But if we're not doing all these things, there's no way our prostate is going to remain healthy in the state of environment we're in right now, because we have become the number one target. In fact, we've always known that, but now we're seeing it in open season. The gloves are off. I don't care where you look, but you just need to see it in your TV, in the movies. Everything is about really targeting the male genitals and making sure that more of our men have their prostate removed, more of the men are having their prostate literally, it's about whatever Francis Cresswell said in our the Key to the Colors, if you understand what I mean, if you ever read the book. I'll leave it there, my sister.
Right, so I just said thank you for that. That's like beautiful. I love those kinds of interviews where I have to do nothing.
Yes.
Show up, baby.
That's all information.
You just show up, man. You just show up, man.
Cheers.
I love them all. I've got Easy Herbs in the building. Easy Herbs, don't be shy now. Now, he's been on the show before. He loves, his favorite area is microbiome and bacteria and stuff. So if you've got a question, this is your last chance, family. It's in the chat. It is in the chat. The link is here. So if you do want to come, you've got a quick question or something you want a little bit of clarity on regarding how Mariandina products can support you or support your immune system, do join in on the conversation. That's the last time I'm going to advertise that little spot. I do want to talk a little bit about the time we are in right now. Yeah, with Soviet.
And also, just to share with you, we'll be offering 2 prizes, in fact.
Okay, great. Okay, so we'll do that at the end. We'll do that at the end.
Do that at the end. And also, we also want to offer a volunteer to help with what they call experience the holistic diagnostics as well. Anybody who wants to come and volunteer, they're welcome to come and volunteer. I will take 2 people just to show them how you can actually use ancient practices to read your body.
So you're saying if 2 people want to come up tonight? Oh my! Well, yeah.
Let's work together. It's time to heal.
Family, like, don't be shy. Yeah. This is it. Like, if you don't know Stephen Ssali, trust me. Yeah, you need to know who Stephen Ssali is. Yeah, he's up there, my friends. Yeah, if some of you are like new to his work, yeah, he's old school. He's legend. Yeah, we're talking legend. I don't have to brag. Yeah,
no, we don't. It's not about bragging. I think the most important.
Just like him. I mean, it's such a beautiful pleasure. I can't tell you. So if you want to join in, you can. And he's offering a conversation. So what are you offering tonight? Where people?
What we're offering. We can actually help people to look at the root causes. I wanted to demonstrate to people what we can do in terms of healing and identifying root causes. If somebody's got a burning issue about themselves or what's going on, we will be able to tell them within 3 minutes how to help them, and also be able to read their system, the liver, the kidney, the pancreas, tell them what's happening there without even touching them or doing anything.
Come on, I dare someone to be
we're using what they call the power of intuitive analysis. Today, the world has changed in that urine tests, blood tests, stool tests, CT scan, MRI scan, they're all great. But now we have now tapped into our what we call innate ancestral healing, which use the power of what we call knowing. You see, there's a power of knowing where you actually know intuitively. When your mother calls you, you say, "Oh my goodness, mommy, I was just thinking about you." Then you're cold. Okay. Or then your brother comes on, you haven't been in for instance, "Oh my goodness, Jeffrey, oh Kwame, you've been on my mind the whole day," and you showed up at the door. So that has now been translated into a way where you can now diagnose and find out things as accurate as knowing what is happening in the system, and also give people insight on how to solve certain things. It's all solution based. You know, the time we're living in is so revolutionary. We are developing our innate powers, our supernatural powers are all coming back online. We should come into alignment. There's a new golden age opening up for us as African people. We don't want to stay back in the old age of control and manipulation and fear. We want to move into the golden age of awareness, of emancipation, of liberation, of literally creating our own reality in a way that is going to empower us to do for self and build Africa in a way that we can actually live in a state of wholeness with nature.
I hear that. I completely concur. I concur. Yes. So we got some shy. If you're too shy to come on, well, you know, I can't say you didn't have your opportunity. You know, I know if it was an American audience, to be jumping through the doors. You know that, right?
You know what? Why don't we do you, Mut, and then they can learn from you, okay? Because you know what? There's nothing like the present moment. I always believe when you take you just offer yourself as a little. We're going to use a method here that is literally using us. I'm going to just give you a chance to really understand that your essence is literally always. I'm going to share with you one thing, but we're going to look at something that is going to help you to really see how we can listen to our body. Our body is always speaking. Okay. And vibrationally, energetically, your entire system is based on energy. Everything vibrates. Everything, your liver, your kidney, your pancreas, your heart is all vibrating. Now, when you get to listen to the body, your body actually tells you what's going on. Now, how does intuitive analysis work? It works by actually helping you to know that your higher self and you are one. Everything in the whole universe is connected. There's no separation between me and Mut and anybody listening right now. We're all part of this universal, amazing, everlasting love called infinity. Okay, and when we are looking at this energy of wholeness and oneness, we are realizing that our ancient ones were able to actually heal and find out what was going on just by using the elements. And that's what we're going to do right now. Okay. So I'm going to use a situation where we're going to actually find out what is happening with our system. What is going on from Mut at this moment in time. So don't worry. It's going to be just a brief. Now, what I'm picking up about you, Mut, is to do with water absorption. Okay. Now, it means that for you as Mut, I'm picking up something where it's called pure water deficiency. All right. In the pure water deficiency, what does it mean? It means that, yes, water is so essential for us to actually utilize. And for you, what I'm picking about, your intake of water is quite good. Okay. Is at 80% as a percentage. Let's say 100% is where it should be. Intake of water is about 80%. But when we talk about really your absorption as Mut, you'll find that your absorption is very poor. You're only absorbing 5% of the water that you take in. So you find that your lower lip is always dry. And also at the same time, you'll find that when you drink like 2 glasses of water, within 45 minutes, you want to go to the toilet. Okay. It means water is coming out of you very quickly. Okay?
He's good. Anyone who knows me, I love I'm on coconut water because water goes right through me.
You're like a plant where you pour water into a plant. It just, if you're going on a long journey. Now you're talking. Now, how I know this is
I see you, Easy Herbs. Someone else going to come in the building in a bit. I see you, Easy Herbs. I'll see you.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna do one more thing for you, Mut. If you look at your immune system at this moment in time, where is Mut's immune system? Your immune system at this moment in time, as a percentage, is at 60%. Okay, so it should be at 100. Okay, so
absolutely.
You should be at 100, but you're at 60%. So if I look at what is compromising your immune system. What exactly is compromising her immune system and system at this moment in time? And what I'm getting about you at this moment in time for system mode, what exactly is compromising her system as we speak? And for you, I can feel here that you're lacking something nutritionally. Now, we've got over 20,000 nutrients. There's no way you're going to be eating everything you need to eat, okay? Sure. But sometimes things get missing in our system. And for you, your system, I'm going to tell you what you're lacking. So when you take it, you can see the change that will happen. All right. For a system, what exactly is happening in her world as we speak. And what I'm getting for you, system, is that you are having what they call a high degree of inflammation in your system. Okay, now you need an anti-inflammatory. Now, inflammation is something that should be at 0 for you, but where is your level of inflammation at the moment? The system mode is at 60%. Okay, so we need to reduce that. What is inflammation? Inflammation is redness or swelling or what we call pain. So sometimes it's like a slow burning coal inside of you. If you feel like coal and you have a slow burn, the coal never really goes out. So the fire never really goes out for you. So for you at the moment, inflammation is at 60%. And what I would recommend for you is something to help you to reduce that inflammation, and that will give you a sense of relief that you will find that now for you, I would recommend something called system mode. What would benefit her at this point in time? And we're getting something called maca root powder. Okay, you take just 1 teaspoon of maca root. Yeah, 1 teaspoon maca root powder would help you to really deal with that inflammation very well, and you find that your system will start to feel a lot better. And just to give you an idea, if I was to look at your emotional health system mode, I'm getting, you should be at 100%, but right now you're at 10%. All right?
Oh.
Yeah, so you should be at, now we're going to find out why that is the case.
Oh, I don't know about that. But I tell you what has, I mean, there's been a few challenges, in the background. And my son, my eldest son, he came off his bike in the last couple of days, my eldest son, and went into a van, and broke three of his front teeth. Yeah. So I was like, okay, right. Yeah. Now I have a thing about him being on bicycles anyway. He's 21. He's not a child. Yeah. So, yes. And then we find out that he was riding his bike with no hands.
Oh my goodness! So hands free. You know what is interesting?
You know, I'm going to just say this to anyone who's a parent: like, it just changes. You know, the form. You know, your worry level just changes when they're an adult. It doesn't go away.
It doesn't go away.
It changes form. Yeah.
You know what is important as you say that, Sister Mud, is your emotional body.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, your emotional body is your emotional body is so important when it comes to healing. In fact, a lot of diseases start in the emotional center, and you find that even there's certain diseases like fear and worry get stored in your kidneys. In your liver, you have anger getting stored there every day. You have a situation where one can experience what they call low self-worth and low self-esteem that will impact the spleen. And you find that somebody who's in a state of stagnancy, they'll get what they call colon issues. Somebody who's in a state of grief all the time, they get respiratory issues. Or bronchitis or respiratory conditions. So anybody who's got cancer on the planet will have 3 emotions linked to them: bitterness, lack of forgiveness, and resentment. Everyone who's got cancer has got that emotion or somewhere linked to them. Why? Because that emotion is what signifies and drives the cancer. So when we look at healing, we look at holistic health from a holistic point of view. Your entire system, whether it's emotional well-being, spiritual well-being, mental well-being, physical well-being, is all interconnected into the fact that if your system is not actually in a state of wholeness and balance, it is producing symptoms and signs from different areas that will actually challenge our systems as a whole. And that is why the formative years are so important, because that is where 95% of our life is run from, in the formative years, in that what they call the imprint stage. That's why you find that a lot of people have, if they've got a traumatic childhood, their inner child doesn't literally, the inner child can cause a lot of problems in the adult space and can bring on all kinds of diseases for them, because even cancer can come from what they call traumatic or imprints or blocks or what they call patterns. And we're all creatures of habit. So we're learning how to understand our emotional field and how to listen to our emotional center. I'll leave it there for you.
And I appreciate your if you like, your diagnosis, because when you're you're in your motherhood, your worry levels are, and he's away out of London. So I'm a little bit like, okay, is he okay? Did he go his head?
You know what? I'll share one thing with you. Your particular field will be about panic and terror. Okay. Now, panic is probably going to be something that you're going to be seeing a lot of in terms of your field. Why? Because not just because your mom, because it's just something that you're attracting from your emotional field. And at the same time, you find that there is also an issue around the fact that the pattern that is driving all these things is based on the energy of what I would call abandonment. Okay. That is something that is strong within your field, abandonment. Now, that means that the feeling nature of Mut will sometimes feel abandoned. Okay. Now, I'll tell you one thing that is important for you to understand is that we can't hide energy. All right. We can actually, there's a song that was written in the soul era, what's it called? It's written all over your face. We all have something that is literally, myself included, everybody else trying to be the first person to say, I've got weaknesses, I've got issues that I'm dealing with. Why? Because we are all emotional beings. And we feel. The first thing we always have to ask about ourselves, how are you feeling today? Okay, how am I feeling today? And literally, sometimes we have to self-soothe ourselves and say, it's okay. I love you anyway. It's okay. I embrace you anyway. It's okay. I receive you with love. It's okay. I embrace you with love. It's okay. So when we practice self-soothing, we actually heal ourselves and we actually heal the inner child and we celebrate the inner child because that inner child wants to celebrate, wants to have fun. So we can always go within ourselves and really give ourselves an inner hug and say, inner child, I love you. You're doing so well today. You've done so well.
I have to say, I am a little bit mean with myself. I don't pat myself on the back and things like that. People, I don't really, what I produce is what I produce. That's me. Yeah. Like, okay, it goes well, great. If it doesn't go well, great. We just move. Yeah.
True. And that's, that is so important because it is what it is, but we always have to go back to the fact that we're living in the present moment. And the present moment is literally a reflection of our consciousness. Whatever is happening to us in any moment of time is the world, the universe we live in is like a mirror. It's reflecting back to us who we are. That's why they say to us, you carry yourself wherever you go. Wherever you go, you carry yourself. You can't run away from yourself. So some people say,
No, but I wanted to. I'm glad you mentioned it. I am going to have, and I am. It's a little bit of a spoiler. I am doing so we are going to have a lady on in March, who does some motherhood healing, work, which is really useful. Because I've had to do some of that work. I found her. I had to do some of that work. I've become a doula, a mother.
Brilliant. I remember you were did you
not know I was a doula?
I knew already. As I said, I've always known you as a doula all the time. You work with Sister Delia Mohammed.
I see you.
Back in the day.
I'm in my 19th year this year. But even with some of the, what I do get amazed at is from coming from where I came from. People will know a little bit my story. I won't share it yet. I'll share some stuff in March. But I have my own backstory, and in my own backstory, just to give you a little peek, I'm one of 14 children on my father's side. Do the math.
Yes.
Do the math.
Doesn't matter. It's all good.
No. I mean, to be fair, I don't. What it shows me. I mean, I've got loads of sisters, loads of brothers, and we're all quite well connected. Actually, it's quite lovely that we found each other. Yeah, in spite of. Yeah, so we have a lot of in our family. Come from the in spite of. Yeah.
Yes. In spite of family.
Yeah, we're on that pathway, right? That's how our family are. So I recognize that. It's like, you may not have come from something, but you become that something that you may not have received. And I am a strong, a strong indication, given the work that I do as well. Like, when you find out about a lot of healers, not all of them, but you find a lot of healers have had, they've got their own backstory. Yeah. Which also allows them to become the healers that they are. It's part of their life purpose. So I think that's been really kind of, it's certainly helped me formulate who I've become, in seeing some certain dynamics that have taken place inside of my family setting. So, I recognize I have my own, we have our own Achilles heel. And at the same time, I recognize that as long as you're doing the work. You see, it's all about identifying. Yeah. Once you can identify, you can do the work. Yeah. And so that's why, you know, I'll have a conversation in March about healing the mother wound. In fact, the sister does. Yeah. Work on that, because a lot of women, especially spiritual women, I find you have a conversation with spiritual women, and a lot of them have had particular situations or mother-daughter issues, because every generation, and this is what I was saying, every generation, there's a healer in it. Yeah. Now it might be me, it might be someone else. Yeah. As it stands at the moment, you know, I am in the position I am in my family, and my family certain family members recognize, okay, this is the position you're in. Yeah. I've become sort of an elder, certainly on my mother's side. Yeah. I'm like the oldest. Yeah. So, and, you know, and there's also, I'm a middle child, but there's also the sort of older daughter syndrome that comes with that. Yeah. That giving mentality, etc., etc. I'm working through my stuff, family. I'm working through my stuff.
We all are.
All right, so listen. Too much juice on that. Too much juice.
Exactly. Well, it's all good.
So we'll get on to that. I mean, I like those kinds of conversations. Sometimes you have to unpack. I mean, you know, it's important, and you know, you're getting a sense of who I am. So you're not wrong. Certain aspects, you're not wrong. Yeah, I think the water conversation is important, definitely. I mean, yeah, I need to have a conversation with me and water, yeah, around that. Yeah, as I'm definitely a water person in the summer, spring. I'm very seasonal as well. Yeah, what I eat in the winter is not what I eat in the summer or spring.
Seasonal food. Well, that's the best way to be, seasonal.
So I've got my brother Easy Herbs here waiting in the wings. Thank you so much for putting your camera on, brother, because I wouldn't let you in unless you have your camera on. Right, I'm going to bring him to the space. Look at this. It's the remix tonight.
Yes, family.
Tonight.
Yes,
King. Easy Herbs. Me, one of my favorite people. Yeah. Stephen Tamale Ssali. Easy, our brother Easy Herbs has been on the show before. He is also, you know, he's been studying microbiome and bacteria, yeah, and for some time now, yeah, and he's you know, like a hood scientist, we called him, yeah. Excellent. He's out there, yeah, out in the street, pouring out the information, yeah. So we give thanks to have what a lovely night.
Salute, my brother. Salute, my brother.
Salute to you, sir.
You know what? To tell the truth, I came in a little bit late, but the knowledge that I jumped in and I heard, I started bigging up the science that you was kicking. You know, it was definitely powerful information. I need to dig a little bit harder when it comes to hormones. But like the sister said about me and the microbiome or the microbiota, that we understand that they also help produce hormones and also the neurotransmitters, and use the same gateway and the pathways that you were talking about, like the endocrine system. And these have direct contact with different organs, and also have the direct link to your central nervous system. So the microorganisms help produce hormones like for example serotonin, and etc. I think there's a couple more. I can't remember off the top of my head, but so these microbiome helps influence these same type of hormones that helps us with our private areas, you know. And to bring up a root, I don't know if you know about this root, but it's a root from Uganda, which is called the Malondo. Yeah,
yes, you're very on it.
Look at these guys. Look at the buns going up. Ssali.
Easy, you got yourself. He's just lined up already.
This root is very hard to get. Yeah, I got one of the look. The root here. Look, this is one of the. And like aphrodisiacs, I want you to touch on aphrodisiac and how they can help our systems as well. I know that Malondo alone, or the scientific term is called Mandia White, helps with the neurotransmitters that get produced to help the flow that enters into your private parts, you know. So I know the I would say the peripheral system within those regions there, and how those, like you said, everything is energy, everything is electrical currents and actual potential that flows all around your body, you know. So yeah, aphrodisiacs.
Okay.
I don't know if you touched on it, or if you can break down a little bit more about the aphrodisiac and how they can help us.
Okay, I think thank you for that. First of all, I want to salute you, Brother Easy, for the wonderful work you're doing out there in the field. I know we are brothers in the hood, I won't say in the hood, but in the field, as I could call it, because you know what, everyone has a task to heal thyself and to heal others in the family. There's no one special man who's going to come and heal everybody. We all have the, like Sister Mo says, be the healer in your family. If you can, hear his information from Brother Easy, from myself, from other healers like Dr. Africa or Dr. Mark or Dr. Ferguson or wherever. So many people from Sister Kendaki, King Lion. It's all kind of family of healers from Pookrum, whatever's out there. One thing is important here is, like I said, you should know the truth and the truth shall set you free. But what is most important right now is, as you talk about the aphrodisiacs, yes, the Molondo is very famous here in Uganda. They've turned it into powder, they've turned it into drinks. But you know what? This is where I've joined our selling system. I've joined the Uganda Herbal Association, where I'm formulating to work with other herbalists to see how we can bring together our strength collectively. So I'm literally in the group and fostering our fast coordinating of a group of herbalists to work together, to advertise together, to produce products together, to do things together. Because this thing of every man is an island, that doesn't work no more. We're in an interconnected world, and the more we can actually move into that area of really working together, there's so many aphrodisiacs here, as you can put it. And
are you in Uganda?
I'm in Uganda right now.
Wow.
Yes. And I would love to link with you so that we can send you some of these things, Mr. Easy. So they're already in powder. They're already made in powder form, so they're easy to assimilate. You just put a powder in the drink and just drink, and it's very effective.
Wow.
There's also, other things like, in terms of here, they've got local names, but probably some of the most famous ones we already know are things like horny goat weed. Again, that is the name says it all. Okay, so we know about those ones, but there's also other ones that actually stimulate the system, which I've been talking about in Mariandina, called guarana. Ginkgo biloba for circulation is very good, because again, the microcirculation is so important in terms of literally sexual function and also mood function. We also are realizing today that for many people, it's related to the hormonal endocrine system. The reason why they don't have desire or erosion of libido or erectile dysfunction or a sense of not really being in a state where they have softer erections is all because of the fact that the circulatory system and the hormonal system are so intertwined. When one is not aligned to the other, there's going to be interference. You mentioned the microbiome, which is producing a lot of the enzymes and a lot of the what I would call the neurotransmitters. The neurotransmitters. Now science is showing us that 80% of the immune system is in the gut. Now, the microbiome plays such a big role in terms of our immune health, but many people don't realize that if you got poor gut flora, if you got poor prebiotics or probiotics, your entire system is compromised, because you can't break down your food, you can't assimilate your food properly. At the same time, you'll find a problem that you'll always be sickly. And the people who have a poor gut biome or poor microbiome, they'll have what they call a situation where they're always facing infections and all kinds of issues because their biome is poor. So we need to look at how to improve the lactobacillus, the acidophilus, which is the main one, and many other strains, to make sure that they really improve the libido, as well as also other things as well. So I must say one prebiotics from your country, the matoke, you know. Yes, matoke. You know? Well, brother, when you come down, you got to let me know you're down here, my brother. Don't come down here. Don't connect with me.
My missus is from Uganda, you know, so I know a lot. So I know a bit. So yeah, definitely. But the matoke is the prebiotics. They help feed the good bacteria with the resistant starch and the inulin, you know. And we know most of the hormones was developed the night the 90% of the serotonin is developed in the gut. You know, they call it the second brain, the axis brain. So it sends neurotransmitters directly to your brain, your cerebral cortex, you know, and they help with depression, because we know that all plays a role in your sex drive, and all of that is your depression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, as you're saying that, my brother, it just triggered something in my mind, is that for many times we are in a state where we're realizing that our entire system is not just interconnected, but we sometimes have been conditioned to think in isolation, that everything is separate and everything works on its own. But what we're realizing today, you just reminded me that in Ghana, that they have a food called kenke. Kenke is fermented, and a lot of us have moved away from fermented foods. There is such richness in fermented foods and how they help us in terms of health, endocrine health, sexual health. Everything is. That's why you're finding that a lot of the soy that is used today, whether people are using a soy, it is a lot of these genetically modified, but also at the same time it interferes with our hormone health, because it introduces a lot of estrogen into our system and creates a lot of imbalance in the body. So as men, we should not be eating a lot of these high estrogen foods. As some people are eating lots of tofu, lots of this, lots of, it's really can interfere with your male function and become more female. And for female, if they're eating a lot of it as well, they can become over estrogenized as well. So, and we can create a lot of also cancers from what they call having that. So if you look at the soy that they eat in the Eastern world, it is fermented soy. So there is a more benefit on actually taking in fermented soy rather than what they call this unfermented one. So we're seeing that when I looked at Ghana and many other countries, they're using kombucha and many other things as part of what we call the area of improving the gut biome. Things like cabbage, that is what the cabbage they call it. This cabbage.
I think I know what you're talking about.
You know, okay.
I think I know what you're talking about. I just don't know the name either.
Yeah, it's a cabbage that they actually ferment, and it produces what they call juices that they eat that cabbage, and the cabbage has got very good nutrients to help to nurture your gut biome. But also, we're also now realizing that we have to really get into a lot of fermented foods. That is the way forward. It might taste a little bit bitter, but it's so bitter is good for the heart, bitter is good for the liver.
Yeah, fungi and seaweed as well. Because the thing is, when a lot of people that deals with herbs, they think herbs is everything. There's going to be a lot of minerals and nutrients that it's been left out of the herbs, because it's not just found in herbs. It's found in other things like seaweed. Because if you deal with like ancient, like what I would say the origin of life, for example, we know that where all of these plant life, fungi life, all of them derive from the sea. Organisms, cells, and everything comes from have their origin in the sea. So when we look at our origin, we can have a better understanding of how to utilize our food. We need to use the plant life with the fungi life with the seaweed life, the seed life, and then it goes back to the bacteria again. So I think just take it back, and then we can.
As you say that, King, you just sparked something in my mind, saying that we are in a time where we are now seeing the rise of superfoods. Like what we call, my sweet lady there said sauerkraut. Perfect. Thank you so much for that, sister, sweet lady, sweet daddy. So we are seeing that many times we have to realize that in the times we're living in, we have to move into a state of awareness that superfoods like super algae, there's something called blue-green algae. What I found is that it also helps with brain metabolism. If you've got that, now you mentioned the algae, there's spirulina, another algae, is also very important. It's got all the richest minerals in the world. Chlorella, another superfood, again, another algae, very powerful, actually reversing things like reducing heavy metals in the body, taking out and nourishing the body, and got an abundance of nutrients and minerals in there. You've got all things like the seaweed you mentioned. A lot of people, Japanese, are using seaweed and everything, but there now we're seeing that a lot of these Eastern people, they're living longer and longer lives based on these super green foods or super green algae. And these superfoods like maca, chlorella, barley grass, wheatgrass, all of these are part of what they call the superfood family. And the more we actually get into this area of nourishing ourselves with these superfoods, we realize that our systems can live healthier. Today, people are eating a lot of what they call sea moss and using it on a regular basis because it's rich in minerals. These are part of what we call lifestyle things that people like Dr. Ssali and maybe other Dr. Africa have been championing for many seasons for our people. But sometimes we're not really tapping into this energy a lot that we should, and we're seeing a massive. I'm just saying is that we're seeing a massive rise in diseases in our community because of the fact that we are faced with the plague of literally what I call the white coat syndrome. Okay, people just literally don't want to do anything else but what the doctor's saying. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't listen to the doctor, but I'm just saying be your own doctor. Heal thyself. And once you heal yourself, there's so much stuff that you can research on. There is so much documents you can read on. There is so much. I mean, myself and Izzy, we are self-taught guys, but we at the same time, we understand one thing. Your body heals itself. And the more you listen to your body, the more you learn that the central focus of your entire system is based on your immune system, and the systems from the endocrine system, the lymphatic system, the hormonal system, the digestive system, every system, the creator who is the original designer of the systems, they work on that circadian rhythm. And the more we actually tune into that rhythm and see how to get the body to synchronize as a clock, the body clock, and let that clock move with the clock. If it's time to sleep, sleep. Don't stay awake at night watching videos. If it's time to actually get into a zone where you need to, in the morning, have your bowel movement, that is when you're supposed to have the bowel movement in the morning. You can't have the bowel movement in the middle of the night, So everything has a clock rhythm. If it's lunch hour, the creators put between 1 and 2, that's the phase of the small intestine. That is when most of your digestion is taking place. That's where you're talking about the gut biome. That is where all the bacteria, the gut flora is at most active. That's what they call it, that lunch hour. Some people have an afternoon nap. That's called a siesta. So we're seeing that the cycle, the circadian rhythm is so key to our healing and knowing. That's why you find that those who sync up with nature and do detoxes at the right time will now create an environment where their system is in tune. Some people said you should fast on the full moon and fast on the new moon, because that is where the moon's energy is pulling toxins out of your body and assisting you to detox. Now, fasting is a good thing that our ancestors did and for many years, but we are now moving to the area of knowing that if we're going to begin the process of really coming out of what we call the pandemic of how can I put it, is that there's an artificially created environment, what I call the death camp. And this camp has been fostered in such a way that our brothers and sisters are none wiser what's going on. So we are falling into what we call the enemy of our souls preparations. They know what they're doing. They've been planning this NWO for a long time. So we just have to look at, see how we begin to navigate in a war terrain, because believe me, brothers and sisters, we are at war, and the biggest enemy is what they call the one they're fighting is your body. And what are they using? GM foods to kill you. They're using all kinds of preservatives and toxins to destroy your system. They're giving you all kinds of things that literally are preserved E numbers that are hidden behind dangerous substances like nitrates that damage your system. They're damaging all kinds of these situations in the environment, so that you have so many toxins in the environment. So you're constantly breathing in these toxins, like in the form of toilets, in the form of food preparation. They're making sure that food is used as a weapon to destroy the very fabric of our bodies. And that is what we've got to realize. The human body is being completely made or sustained and put into a disease format all the time, because disease is big business. The more you have what they call cancer is also big business. So what we have is a situation where those who are invested in diseases, they never want the diseases to end. They want you to be in a constant disease state, constant drug dependency, constant long-term what we call poisoning of your system, blanketing with poisons, electrical pollution, all kinds of things. So this whole pathway is about us realizing our emancipation can only come when we take charge of this temple and really, really understand that this living temple you're dwelling in is what the Creator has put you in, and you have the power as an African person or as a person on this planet to really begin to realize that this temple is supposed to tune into the stars and connect with your ancestors and drive your mission forward in terms of literally living in this golden age that we have gone into. This is no time to falling asleep at the wheel. The enemy is so busy confusing millions, taking away millions by the night and by the day. And their main purpose is to create confusion, trickery, disinformation, deception, everything lined up. And most of our people are literally running in the big track, hoping that they somehow, this little bit vaccine will save them, I'll leave it there.
Boy, I, I think it's my time to exit because you're flowing, man. Yeah, so salute to you. You know, hopefully we can have another convo as well one day.
Bro,
You know,
I look forward to that. Look forward to that.
All
look
right.
forward to that. And when you come,
all right.
Richard,
Well, I'll pass on the details. I'll send you his
please.
and the email. You're gonna email. I'm gonna have your email out at the end. So
Definitely.
we'll be able to
Salute you, brother.
Salute, yeah. Salute.
Yeah,
all
one love.
right.
I'll be still watching.
You thanks,
Okay.
beloved. Thank you, bro. You thanks.
One love.
Lovely. Oh, that was so lovely. Thank you, brother. So yes, our brother Easy Herbs, and you have, well, you've raised the roof today. As you do.
It's time.
Don't be so modest. Don't be so modest.
Okay,
he's one of these men. You can go into a room. No, come on, let's just be real. You can go into a room, the whole room lights up. Very few people can do that, Just saying.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that. Yes, that I mean, it's an energy that is very potent, very powerful. Yeah, and it deserves the honor and respect that we're having tonight. So I give thanks. Yeah, we're not even in a room when you're lighting up the place. And you don't have to have a room.
The room is everywhere. We're in the God Kush room.
We're in the God Kush room. So I just want to complete this evening. I thank you for really sharing. What can be done, and also your my personal reading this evening. If you didn't get it, you can go rewind that. Much healing, and but I wanted to touch on for the conversation we've been having. Obviously, this kind of quarantine conversation. This you spoke a little bit about pneumonia earlier. Yeah, and that's one of these areas you're finding, you unpack this situation with COVID, it's leading to pneumonia and stuff like that. And so I would just probably ask at this stage, if people were like, whether they're going to relax these rules or not, or they're going to, shift, in 5 minutes time, who knows? I want us to really get to a point where, we can, do for self. Yeah. And I want to get a sense of, which product out of your range would you encourage people to pick up, purchase, to stave off, the effects of, because they're talking about the long-term version of her, COVID. Yeah. They're talking about, obviously, the impact of the vaccine. Yeah. That being, its own. Yeah. And then we're talking about what's preventable.
Yeah.
So
what, sister, I want to share something. Nobody when this pandemic started, we didn't know where it was going. We saw it on television in Wuhan and we thought it was far away. And then it came to Italy, we looked at it again and it was still quite far away. And when it came to the UK, this thing swept us over, like it literally hit the train hitting a fan, or a train hitting and we literally could not actually believe that this thing was going to do it. But we've now seeing that strain after strain as they bring them out is literally, and I use the word bring them out because this is literally artificially created. We know that everything's pointing towards the Wuhan lab as something that has been, stirred and mixed up, their genetic engineering, what they call gain of function program, and they call it gain of function. Why are you looking into things and tinkering with things that literally are deathly things and trying to make them gain their function of death, So it makes you wonder if it was such an accident, how come we've got all these things leading back to the Wuhan lab? But that's another story for another day. And we have to remember one thing, is that this condition, whether it's long COVID or short one, it has taken a lot of our loved ones, and peace be upon them, because we've lost so many of our brothers, sisters, elders especially, who have literally succumbed in very strange circumstances. And you also wonder, how is it spreading? That's always in my mind. How is this thing spreading? Is it through satellites? Is it through 5G? Whatever is going on? How is it spreading so fast across the world? Is what I sometimes sit back and think, How are they doing it? But in the times we're living in, there's some. I go back to the book and say, if the time wasn't shorted, even the very elect would be deceived. That's how the Father put it. And we're in that such a time that the very elect of us as a people have been completely targeted. We've seen a lot of people who are speaking the truth completely muzzled and taken out of commission. We've seen a lot of people who are going through different challenges just to literally live. And now there's a big trucker mandate thing going on in Canada. So we're seeing that this whole thing, that even people who you would think that they'll just fall in line, they said, no, enough is enough. So we're now in a time where we should look within ourselves and see that this condition is being genetically engineered in such a way that it bypasses the normal checks and balances that your body would normally have for any virus or any bacteria condition. Some people are even coming to say it's even a parasite. So we have to really be very clear that things that are like pneumonia we mentioned. Now, in the known world, there's the reason why people are getting ventilation problems and they can't breathe properly, and they're having challenges around a cough that never goes, and having challenges around what we call a state of affair where one completely just feels fatigue all the time, or they have what they call a sense of headaches and things that come with this condition. Now, we know that the speed at which this thing is also taking out some people is quite high, and sometimes the body doesn't have a chance to respond. But I want to start off with the preparation phase, and I'll start off with pneumonia, meaning pneumonia is something that usually in the Western world they say there's no known treatment for it. But I want to give people an age-old treatment that we can utilize. Back in the day, people used to use cabbage leaves. Now, you might say, cabbage leaves, please, Stephen, get real. But this does work. If you put cabbage leaves and onions in a pillowcase and put it in your chest, it will literally draw out the poisons that actually are driving the pneumonia, and the person will get relief. You'll feel that. I've told so many people this over the season, and they've had great relief in terms of really getting out of that pneumonia situation. Why? Because again, this when they say fluid is building up in the lungs, the person loses their sense of breathing and they become breathless. It's all because what the virus is doing is actually creating clots that actually cause fluid to build up in the lung area, and at the same time the person then has difficulty breathing. That's why people actually lose their life like that. So one of the things that will prevent that is, first of all, strengthening the immune system. And we go back to the Marina A, B, and J. The A will boost the immune system, will give you energy, repair body cells and tissues, provide stress relief, and at the same time energize the body. Why the A works so well with this condition is of the COVID is because the first thing any virus or bacteria has to bypass is your immune system. Once it can penetrate that, it will stay on the ground floor multiplying like crazy, okay? And once it's got the numbers up, like it's like a Trojan horse. That's how they built this Soviet situation. So when the Trojan horses got hold of the ground floor, it breaks all the pillars, which are the vital signs of your system, and knocks into the floor. And then the whole house of cards crashes. That's why you see somebody can stay without symptoms for a long time, and then everything just crashes so quickly because it has already taken over the ground floor. That's why infections multiply like crazy. Once they've got a host, they want to take over the whole host. So that's what viruses do. That's their action. Now, you've got to understand that in order to stop them in their tracks, you need something like Marina J. Marina J has been so successful at doing this because it interacts and blocks the multiplication process of these viruses. And we've had people who had Ebola, people who had HIV is the famous one. We've done a lot of work around that. People with Zika and all these other viruses like H1N1. And we are seeing that today, if we want to really understand that your entire system is literally in a position, once it has the spare parts, the power to really fight back, it does fight back. And why people go down like quickly or go down because the body is struggling as this thing has gained enough momentum in the system because of its multiplication power, and the system cannot respond. Marina J helps to stop the spread of what they call the virus. It also helps you to actually combat the virus at the level where it starts to actually heal the damaged areas. And many times we've had people who are in a situation, they say, you know what, if I wasn't on the Mariandina, this would have been such a bad situation. I don't think I'd have made it. So it goes to show you that your system is better prepared with nutrients, micronutrients, antioxidants, vitamins, minerals and herbs that you find in Marina J. The B is very good for hormone balance. I've always mentioned about hormone balance. You've got things like hawthorn berry in there that are very good for helping the heart, and also things like echinacea, vitamin C, coenzyme Q10, ginkgo biloba. All these nutrients are very powerful at improving circulation. As we know, what the solvent does at this particular time is literally slow the body down. People start to feel what they call pins and needles, or they start to feel that they've got a sense of loss of breath, because again, it literally starts to interfere with by creating blood clots. Now, in order to prevent blood clots, you want to also, maybe we say, oh, why don't you just use, there's always things like garlic in some of these products that will help you with actually a blood thinning process. But what you always want to remember as well is that you want to go back to use age-old antivirus. And this is one of the most powerful one I'm going to give you. It's called thyme. It's already in the Mariandina as well. THYME, for those who might not get the right spelling. But thyme is something we have in our cupboards to cook, but it's also one of the most powerful antiviral respiratory herbs that we have on the planet. And it's something so simple. It's in our kitchens. We use it for cooking. Sometimes we don't even use it at all. Sometimes we don't. But if you just get that, instead of just using it for cooking, boil it and drink it at least 3 times a week. That is your first line of defense. You know, we used to make a small drink during the height of this sort of COVID, and that was made of the skin of the pineapple. You put some garlic, and you put some red onion, 2 red onions in a pot, and you also put something called ginger, fresh ginger, and you also put the skin of lemon, and cut some lemons and lime and put them in oil and boil it with water for at least 30 minutes. And also before you even boil it, add 2 teaspoons of thyme. When you boil that, and also put a cabbage leaf in there, that mixture, that combo mixture, literally when you steam yourself, it is a very powerful natural antiviral against this COVID situation, and it helps you to actually now prepare the body to give it the natural things that can actually fight back. And so many people have survived with this natural simple remedy. And when you realize that thyme, which is, I'm going to go again, is also something that we use, but another very powerful respiratory herb is called pleurisy root, Pleurisy, pleurisy root. Very powerful, very good for this situation that we're in. Again, you can get the drops of that, put a few drops, again, use it for about 30 days just to strengthen your respiratory tract, because now we're in a system and a time where those who are the designers of these diseases, I call them designer viruses, they have designed them to bypass the immune system. But you see, people like Henry Kissinger, and they've been taking time to make sure that they design these killer viruses in such a way, when you look at the trend of them, they're from Zika to Ebola to, they've been perfecting it so much.
Well, you did say something a little earlier. I do want to address that, because you said opportunistic infections.
Look at the word opportunistic.
And when you said that, I immediately thought about, how I see COVID is, it attaches itself, to already pre-existing conditions.
Perfect.
So that it makes sense that, okay, so when they say, oh, they had underlying conditions, because it's attaching itself to it and heightening it, and accelerating it even, So that's what came to mind when you said opportunistic infections. This to me comes under that umbrella.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Sister Mott, we're in a time frame where, like I said, our bodies, the Creator has made us in such a way that we have supermen and superwomen in our bodies. Yet we sometimes don't actually realize that the predictive programming that has been taking place over the season has been shown in movies like War of the Worlds, been shown in zombie movies about the vaccine, and all kinds of like Chimera and Mission Impossible, and all of these movies have been predictively programming. There's about 20 vaccine movies all talk about the vaccine.
Vaccine. We're talking vaccine.
We're talking about vaccine here. Talking about the vaccine. So all these movies, another one called Outbreak. and this was the
Yeah,
time
you
before
got
that.
Contagion. You got
Contagion. Yeah, so you got all
what's
of
the
these
other
things.
ones? So there's loads of them. They're
There's
just
lots
coming
of
out.
them.
They're just
They
coming
come
out,
out
or
every time.
yeah, like there's at least a couple a year now, kind of 2-3 a year.
Yeah,
But
but
listen, I appreciate this conversation. I think this is really, really important. I think, some people will, want to get a sense of, okay, well, what can I take? What can I do? If I'm, right now. Yeah, what can I do right now?
One thing I want to share with people right now, I've given you a little remedy that we can use easily. And that's when people who don't want to get into buying things, that's something you can get from your supermarket and just apply it. Thyme, skin of a lemon, red onion, and literally garlic, ginger, and basically a skin of a pineapple, leaf of cabbage. Put it in a pot, boil it, drink that 2-3 times a week. Preventative. Put the thyme in there, very important. Now, in terms of the Mariandina is literally what I would call the number one nutrient when it comes to prevention, because it uses the power of prevention to literally strengthen your pillars and make sure that your system does not buckle under the pressure of this vaccine or the vaccine or whatever they call it. So I want you to remind yourself is that we have to remember one thing. Your number one defense is nutrition. Okay, first of all, improve your diet before you do anything else. Make sure you're drinking enough water, number one, because water is the first, literally, your body is 70% water. So it means that you need to actually create an environment where the body, as it fights off anything, does not lack lubrication or movement of things to be able to move out. Exercise, very important, because as we move our bodies, we also create movement that allows toxins and things to clear out. Third thing we can also do is also create an environment where we get a little diffuser. I'm just giving you some little pointers here, things that we can actually do to actually in the quarantine convos to help us to heal. Get yourself a diffuser, get yourself thyme oil. Okay, thyme essential oil, put 3 drops of thyme essential oil in the diffuser, and while you're sitting in your sitting room, let that diffuse into the air that you breathe. Okay, I know it's winter time. Try and make sure that you get fresh air into your house. Don't leave your windows stuck the whole year round, shut and sealed up, and no, because you don't want the cold to come in. Every now and again, open your windows, allow the fresh air to come into the building so that you can breathe fresh air. Put some thyme oil in the diffuser, get that diffusing 3 times a week, get that into your environment. The thyme will go into your lung environment and start to line up your lungs as with the air that you breathe in. And that water vapor will go into your lung area. And believe me, thyme, like I said, is the most powerful antiviral on the planet. Okay, there's nothing to beat that. So once you take that in, then that will help you as number 3. Number 4. Number 5, what we do as well, we use a sense of steam and sauna. Go for a massage. Try and relax your body. Your stress is the number one killer. In fact, stress and COVID they literally bring the situation down even faster, because if you already have what they call stored body stress, Marina A is very good for clearing stored body stress, but also try and use what they call stress relieving processes, like going for a steam and sauna, or going for a massage, or doing yoga, or doing deep breathing. These are ways of relieving stress, because if the soul finds you in a stress state, believe me, it's going to take you down faster. We are living in a time where the transmission of this thing is unknown. We don't know how it's spreading. And that's why I'm still researching into it. How is this thing spreading so fast among our children? Why is it killing our children? Why is it killing adults? Why is it killing us? Why are we becoming what they call long COVID patients, where we are constantly having this long COVID? But it means that it is going into our DNA. And I'm going to give you number 6 now. Number 6, get yourself, this is something that is slightly expensive, but please get it. Why? Because what it will do for you, it will actually work at the level of your DNA. What is it? I'm going to tell you. Get yourself something called colloidal nanometer gold. I'll repeat it again, colloidal nanometer gold. Get this product, take 3 tablespoons every day in a glass of water, at least for 15 days, to build up your what? Your colloidal particles. What does the colloidal particles do? This thing is working at the level of your DNA. So what is it doing? It is scrambling your DNA messages that your body is creating. So how is it doing it? Through nanoparticles. Okay. So in order to change that effect, get your colloidal gold. Get not silver, colloidal. It has to be nanometer gold. Take 3 tablespoons put them in a glass, do it for 15 days, then take time off and do it maybe twice a week. Okay, that will again help prevention. Number 7 is also get into the idea of preparing yourself if you are having somebody's got pneumonia. And I'm only saying this because some people will suffer from pneumonia during this process. It's the only thing that is killing people as the main thing. So get cabbage leaves, green cabbage is best, and take off the leaves, put them in a pillowcase. If you've got somebody who's got the Soviet situation, cut up some red onions, 2 red onions, put them in the pillowcase, put them in the person's chest. That will literally draw out the poisons that could cause the person to die from pneumonia. It sounds so simple, but it works. I'm telling you, the simplest things actually do work. And I'm going to give you these things because we want to save lives today. Third thing we can do, 8th thing we can do is get into the idea of using super nutrients. Mariandina is a super nutrient. Get Mariandina A, B, and J. Use Mariandina A 2 tablets twice a day. B 2 tablets twice a day, J 2 tablets twice a day. This is literally going to help you to strengthen the whole system. You will feel it even after 3 days of using it, how your body feels. Even if you've got nothing going on, you will feel it. If somebody's got a Soviet situation going on, increase the dosage to 2 capsules 3 times a day for at least 3 months of use. That will continue the repair process. You'll see for yourself how they respond. And many times people say, well, they don't take it long enough, but you will see that after 7 days, they start to see a sense of difference. They start, instead of have the constant diarrhea, the constant, what they call sore throats and everything, and they can't breathe and running nose and all the things that come with this Soviet, start to go into remission. Why? Because the body requires beta carotene, vitamin C, vitamin E, the B vitamins, and Professor Ssali has already done the formula. There's no, some people say there's no need to go and reinvent the wheel. Somebody's already done that. It's like somebody going around and trying to reinvent vitamin C. Linus Pauling has already done the work around that. Professor Ssali has done the work around literally combination of immune boosting nutrients that will actually relieve the system and also optimize healing function. You will see it. The testimonies on our website. You can see that. The 9th thing I'd like us to think about is literally a way in which we can look at this in terms of quarantine Convos, in terms of healing, is also putting in place what I would call an area that is so important. Your hormones are so dependent on literally what I would call, what our brother Easy was talking about, the microbiome. Make sure you have a strong gut flora. Get yourself some prebiotics, which come in the form of eating salads. Get into the habit of preparing lovely, juicy salads that you can enjoy. Grate the carrots, grate the beetroot fresh, grate the cabbage fresh, grate you can even cut up the little onions fresh, red onions, cut them in really tiny pieces. Grate the carrots if you have to. Grate, mix them in a nice way. Add some olive oil and add some sesame seed oil. Sesame seed oil is very rich in copper, which is very important for really improving your absorption of iron. And also, this color that we have is enriched by copper. It needs copper. It needs something called the rich mushroom. So that is what empowers this melanin to do what it was designed to. Eat more foods that are rich in bananas, rich in tryptophan, like bananas. Things like the small bananas, the green bananas. Make sure you're taking that in, because that is going to help us in terms of fighting off whatever this Soviet is bringing over. We want to empower this melanin to the highest level. How do we do that? We actually spend more time in the sun. If there's no sun in the UK at the moment, then get something called a full spectrum lighting lamp. Put that in your room. Let your body be enriched by the full spectrum of the light that comes from that full spectrum lighting, and it will literally empower your melanin to heal your body, because melanin is a healing chemical. It does so much in terms of repair and regeneration. If we only tapped into its power, we would be out of here before these people can do anything. But now we are relying on what they call firefighting, because our melanin is weak, our melanin is toxic, our melanin is not being fed. So nourish it with the tryptophan, nourish it with the tyrosine. Get some reishi mushrooms, get some acai berry. These are things that will help you to fight off any COVID situation or prevent it. Make sure we're getting into the using of the superfoods that we need to help repair the body. That is how we're going to heal and get out of this what they call long COVID and all these things that are being placed artificially. Number 10, I'm going to end with this one. Get into the powerful world of spice healing. The Creator has already put the spices there. The Asian people have mastered the spices. You, as an African person, can also master the spices. Whenever you're preparing your food, make sure you're using things like coriander. Make sure you're using things like sage. Make sure you're using parsley. Make sure you're using things like basil. Make sure you're using bay. Make sure you're using things that actually like turmeric. Make sure you're using all these spices as they come in, garam masala and paprika. They all have got so much healing components. Get into the chilies. Get cayenne pepper. Use cayenne pepper to stimulate your circulation. Make sure you're using things that will actually stimulate your body, because in these spices there is so many antioxidants that we haven't even discovered and isolated. So use the food as medicine. Use what Imhotep said to us: let your food be your medicine and your medicine be your food. In that way we can heal ourselves and prevent a lot of diseases and use food as medicine. I've given you 10 points, but there's obviously many more than that. But what I'm saying is that if we can follow these, we can literally be in a space where we are empowered and our bodies will be more resilient. Obviously, the second thing, all these face diapers that we've been forced to wear, they're not going to save you from anything. Okay? So we I mean, we are in a situation where we've been forced to think that face diaper is protecting you. Your best protection is your immune system. If you get that working optimally, use the astragalus, which is already in the Mariandina, the echinacea in already in the Mariandina. Use things that will literally surround your system. Get into superfoods. Get juicing. Get juicing. Get your juicer out and juice like crazy. Okay? This is the way forward. Get wheatgrass juice, put wheatgrass, put things like spirulina, start using things like barley grass, get some cabbage juice going, get everything, because juicing heals. So get in apple juice, carrot juice, cucumber juice, get your own. There's so many books in juicing. I'm not a juice expert, but there's so many books in juicing that we can get. So many books talk about juicing. Practice fasting. Let's spend the whole day not eating anything. Okay, not every day, but I'm just saying, get a day when you say every Friday I'm going to stay for the whole day. I'm not going to eat anything till 6 o'clock, and then I break my fast. Try and spend fasting on the new moon and the full moon. Those are the best fasting days, because when you do that, your body is in tune with nature, and the more toxins will leave your body at that time, because that is when the elements or the moon will actually act, just like it acts with the women's menstrual cycle. It also impacts our human bodies by actually pulling out toxins in the systems and in the liver, the kidney. Make sure you also get into the area of doing what we call liver cleansing. Try and, because you see, the liver performs 500 functions of the body. Every time you look at your liver, you're actually now seeing the main workhorse of removing toxins. Some people have been removed, they've been told, just remove the gallbladder, you don't need it anymore. No, your gallbladder is so essential. Anytime somebody tells you that, think twice and say, no, there must be another way. Because anytime your gallbladder has been removed, that means the pathway that is allowing toxins to leave the body is blocked. That's where you're going to end up reabsorbing waste, and toxins will go around the body again, and then you get toxemia, which is poisoning of your system. So we have to move into a state where we now take our power back by realizing that the entire system is literally tuned into healing. We just have to tune in and see how to heal. Use the therapists that are available. There's so many therapists. You don't have to just use myself. If you want, I do something called holistic intuitive healing. I've just done a demonstration with Sister Maud. I can read your system from a distance very clearly and tell you what to do. I do this for a living. I've done it for 10 years. I am very good at it. I'm sorry to say, I am really good at it. I literally know that I've got testimonies that are literally coming back to share back. Because why? I don't want our people to continue to suffer. We've done enough suffering over the slavery times and the colonial times. It's a time for emancipation time. Emancipation begins with your health. Let's emancipate ourselves and create a new vibration where we literally don't allow the enemy of Africa to poison us and kill us in our own place and kill us in our own land and kill us with all this technology and all this what they call Soviet methods of clever marketing of their program.
Coercive control,
deceptive methods, and they don't want you to talk about anything. They just want to say to you, "Oh, don't worry." You just
all right. Well, I've got one more question, and then we're going to wrap up, because I want to get to I do want to get to let people know how they can contact you, and I want you to briefly let me know about the prices, the change in prices and things. So this question here, I'm currently on, it's from Q Talks. I'm currently on a 30-day cellular detox and having some smoothies, herbal concoctions, juices, and water. I would love some advice on recipes after this, as I obviously will have to go easy on my gut. Well, I don't know what time you came in on this show, Q Talks, but he has just mentioned quite a few. I'm going to send his details over as well, so you can easily contact him directly as well. Yeah. So let me just I don't know if you want to add anything to that. Anything you said already?
Basically, you're right. We've just been talking about the tips. I think she may have just joined us. All I can say is that at this particular stage, we want to also realize that we want to use our food as medicine, obviously. And I was mentioning the foods for melanin. If I can reiterate that, mushrooms, from the cordyceps mushrooms to the reishi mushrooms to maytake mushrooms, they're very good for nourishing our melanin. And eat more things around red seeded grapes, not the ones that are seedless grapes. Get the ones that are seeded grapes. They've got something called resveratrol, which is very good for nourishing the melanin and helping the melanin to stay strong. You've also got to use tryptophan, which you find in bananas. Eat more bananas. Again, the bananas are rich in this tryptophan. That's why our ancestors put us on a diet of bananas, of green bananas. They didn't have it by accident. They knew what they were doing. At the same time, we've got to actually take in something called sesame seed oil. Get some cold pressed sesame seed oil and pour it over your salad, like 2 tablespoons. Just get that done at least 3 times a week. That will help you to put copper into your diet, which is the highest ingredient. Sesame seeds have the highest ingredient of copper in them. So when you do that, you're nourishing your melanin. Remember, once you wake up your melanin, it's all over. Okay, why is it all over? Because your body was designed to be a melanin healing machine. That's what melanin is there as a chemical. So when we are tapping into that melanin power, that is what is going to really protect us from what we call the dangers that we're facing with these genetic weapons that are now in our midst. Now, you're going to see that many people, their melanin is they're suffering from what they call melanin blockage diseases. They're suffering from what they call melanin deficiency diseases. And they're in a situation where when they take these melanin nutrients, like you find in Mariandina, you find the body starts to wake up and says, wait, have you been all my life? And they start to do things they've never done before because the body starts to respond faster. They said, this is how I'm feeling. Because the body is always speaking to you, and it speaks to the way you feel. When you're feeling good, when you're feeling elated, when you're feeling blissful, when you're feeling joy, when you're feeling happy, when you're feeling this general beautiful feeling of you feel is literally about telling you, the body saying, we're feeling good inside, and so we're going to let you know. But when the body is feeling bad inside, oh my goodness, you're not going to sleep. The second thing, you'll be somebody who is going to be in pain. You're also going to be in a situation where you become literally having multiple problems. There's some people who have multiple health issues, and they carry them from season to season, from year on, year in, year out, never healing, never. And when they look at us, they've got a bag of tablets. They don't know which to take. They've got the 20, 30 tablets they're taking, one for the heart, one for the liver, one to cut the one for the heart, one to cut the one for the liver. So we've got to get out of what they call this drug dependence, because it is killing us slowly. And unless we break free, we'll be in this vortex where they're now saying iatrogenics, which is death by doctoring, is the #1 killer in the whole world right now. Iatrogenics. Dr. Baylock said that. So we have to realize that we're in a time of great change. The golden age is here. The only way, and I said the only way, is to move into a state of alignment by aligning with yourself, your inner self. Let your soul and your essence speak to you from within, because your intuitive capacity is already switched on now. We're in the time of the Aquarian age. This is the time of alignment. This is the time when we come into our higher faculties, and we can do that by literally cleaning house and making sure that our systems are better in terms of really what they were supposed to do or aligned to do. That has been slowed down by the toxic nature of what the food enemies or food companies have literally bent us into, what they call numbers and all these things that they're fostering on our children to make sure that they remain hyperactive, and all kinds of sunset yellows and tetrazine and all the things that they hide in the numbers. We have to move out of that world and detox and cleanse and use the power of our systems to heal ourselves. And one of the things I always say is spend a lot of time in nature. It's the best way to heal. I know it's cold at the moment in the UK, but when you get a chance and it's starting warmer, just go and hug a tree, you know.
Just listen, don't rub it in just because you are sunning yourself and getting extra vitamin D now. Don't be showing off now.
No, I'm not sure. Listen, I love you two guys too much. You know, I always say one thing, sis, we're one family, okay? And I always say there's nothing that I spend more time than healing our family here in Africa and also in the over the phone than so many people.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah, because I believe one thing. There's no point in time that we are. In fact, Marcus Garvey said it so well. He said, African people will only wake up when their back is against the wall. And right now, our back is being pushed through the wall with all this going on. So we have to now move in a different way. We can't move in isolation. We have to move as one.
Yes. Yeah. Listen, I appreciate that. I recognize the power of this conversation. You'll have to come back and do a part 2 out here. And and keep us informed as to what you're up to.
Definitely.
You can go on his website. The website is mariandina.com, as I show you here. And the best way to contact you is by email, yes? Is that the best way?
Also, you can reach me by WhatsApp. I'll give you my number as well. If
you can find it. Let them contact you. Let them contact you by email, and then your telephone number out here.
Yeah, no problem. You can actually, you can reach me by email. That's on there. Just send me your number by email, and I'll reach out back to you.
I will pass on the details for you yourself and Easy Herbs, simply because you've met already. Yeah, you have to get permission out here for these things. Because don't be giving out my number without permission. I'll tell you that.
Oh, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. It's been a great pleasure. I want to thank you, first of all, Sister Mut, for inviting me and allowing me to share with the family.
Thank you.
On the Quarantine Convos. God Kush is a special space where many conversations are heard, listened to, and shared, and they provide us in the Pan-African world a fantastic setting for us to come together on all forums with all levels: financial, economic, physical, mental, emotional, and social, whatever. They're a fantastic platform, and I want to thank the owners of God Kush TV and also Quarantine Convos, which is yourself, to really say that together we can rise as African people. There is nothing that can stop us because we've come into our own now, and this is our season. This is our time. This is our moment. This is the time where we actually begin the journey of awakening into who we really are, which is gods on this planet.
Ashe.
Pour
and so
some
on
libation.
that note, beloved, I'm gonna put you backstage. Yeah, we're gonna chop it up a little after. I'm gonna want to talk about the reading now. I want to talk about that.
Absolutely.
Another hour after the show.
Are we just warming up?
I want my notebook now.
We can drink some palm wine later.
And I love that. We need to understand that we are healers in our own way, but healers need healers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not a case of heal yourself. Some people might not, but you might need it. Not necessarily. It might be nutrition. It might be emotional. Wherever it is. When you know that you're a healer in your own family, this is a word of advice to anyone who recognizes who they are inside of their family. Have yourself a network of other healers that you go to. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I've known this brother, he's, if you've seen the shows previously, anyone, that I've had Sister Amashade, Griet Chinyere on here. That's the ilk. Yeah. That's the ilk. Yeah. So they came from it's that kind of, I remember meeting all of them almost around the same time. Yeah. In the last 20 years. So I've been lucky to, that's why, in this conversation, if it might have been some other, I don't know, a practitioner I'd never met, I might have felt a little bit like, whoa, this person's reading me. Yeah. However, but I'm kind of open sometimes. But recognizing that obviously I know your work, yeah, and I know the work of the ilk, and I've been lucky enough to be raised by those. This is the community, him included, that's, you know, the generation of elders that I have been fortunate enough to learn from and set the feet of. Yeah. So, you know, if you've got to read me sometimes, you've got to read me sometimes, 'cause I'm still a junior elder in here.
No, there's always a learning process. And this is, we have to give thanks to the elders of God. And I'm glad you brought them. People like the people who have been in this sort of field, like we lost like Dr. Llaila Africa, great elder, great healer, great wisdom maker. Dr. Ssali, another great healer. My father, Professor Ssali.
I saw in your bio. I saw Jill Pookrum was on last night. She was on a live last night. If you don't know Jill Pookrum, you better get to know Jill Pookrum.
Yeah, powerful lady.
She was on a live last night.
Yeah, these are what they're called part of our network of amazing, and this is why I'm so keen to really link up our brothers and sisters here in Uganda, so that we can join with our brothers and sisters in the UK and in the Caribbean and in the Americas, and start a universal ancestral healing process that is ongoing with all the herbalists, all the cultural healers, the spiritual healers, so that we can find what they call the essence of literally communion, what I call.
But it's all about doing for self. At the end of the day, we're at where we need to be able to take ourselves out of those environments and be able to heal each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah? You know, we need to.
Each one heal one.
White coat syndrome has to fade, and if it doesn't start fading now,
at
a time when, you know, things have been put upon you to create impressions upon you to impact you, if you're not going to take those steps at this point where you have to start questioning things, it's very important at this stage to be questioning the things that are coming up, especially as everything is so volatile. Yeah. And this so-called situation, you know, has its peaks and its troughs. And don't forget, now we know that there's a little bit of massaging going on, quite a lot of massaging in terms of the figures as well. Yeah. So, but what's really important is that our brother Stephen here, you know, gives that kind of information to us. Yeah. And we are becoming aware of, okay, there's other things to do. There's things that we can take. I remember, it's funny, you spoke about the onions. I remember coming across putting red onions in socks. Yeah. I used to do it for my little ones. Yeah. Just got rid of the things I used to do. But I'm all about that. I always go plant first, heal them first myself, you know, go through the processes before I even, you know, look outside. Yeah, you know, if I can't heal it, I know someone who can. Yeah. Absolutely. Simple as that. So on that note, beloved, as one of our renowned healers in our community, is an absolute honor and blessing. Yeah. Thank you. And I'm gonna put you backstage briefly, and then we're going to complete the show, and then we'll chat a little. All right. So
thank you for the listeners for tuning in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
We're rising.
Oh wow, that was awesome! Wasn't that awesome? I just want to give you his details again, if you didn't get them or you came in late. Mariandina.com, and Tamale at 911@hotmail.com. Yeah, so you can get hold of our brother there. Thank you so much for a fantastic evening. Yeah, it's been a pleasure to sit with our brother Elder. I haven't seen him in person for a long time, so when we spoke a little bit before we started the show, it was like, oh my gosh, you know. So it is an amazing experience always to speak to him. And like I said, I didn't lie when I said, you know, he's just holding the light. So I just want to complete and thank you all for a fantastic evening as ever. Yeah, we started on time and everything, so I was happy with that. So weren't you? And but I would do what, as always, you know, I usually say it, and I want to just say, you know, really start looking at this situation that they are coming up with now, where they're just going to relinquish certain things in terms of these so-called rules. I would just take my time. I would take my time with those. I would take my time. Keep your eyes peeled. Yeah, take note. Don't jump into action just yet. Just watch. Yeah. So, on that note, I'm gonna say, as I do, yeah, if you ain't got nothing, you ain't got kush. I'll see you in 2 weeks.